Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, where today the San Diego Chargers take on the Seattle Seahawks in a battle for, at worst, a share of first place in the AFC West. Two teams which have opened the season impressively and will today wear throwback jerseys for the Chargers from their 1961 entry, their first year in San Diego, second year of the American Football League. And for the Seattle Seahawks, the jerseys and helmets they wore in 1976, their first year as an expansion entry into the NFL. Seattle has won the toss and will receive the football in these weather conditions at Husky Stadium. Temperature 70 degrees, humidity 73%, wind off of Lake Washington at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The forecast is for partly sunny skies all day long. The Kingdome still under repair, so we are outdoors as John Carney prepares to kick it away for the Chargers. I'm Jim Lampley along with Todd Christensen. And Todd, two football teams that want to play good defense, control the football on the ground, and make plays for their explosive quarterback.
Well, let's be very honest, Jim. You and I, when we saw this on our schedule, said to ourselves, who would have thought that these two teams would be 2-0 atop the AFC West? But that's exactly what has happened, and it's not coincidental. Both teams are playing excellent football.
Michael Bates, bronze medalist in the 200 meters at Barcelona, along with John Vaughn. Deep to receive the kickoff for Seattle. It is to Vaughn's side of the field. And the former New England Patriot is across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Brought down by Deems May, reserve tight end for San Diego. Here's a look at the Seattle offensive front. Howard Ballard, free agent from Buffalo, is the first Pro Bowl offensive lineman ever to play for the Seahawks. Seattle backs and receivers, the focus is on Rick Meyer, but wide receiver Brian Blades had 80 catches a year ago to break Steve Largent's club record. If he stays healthy, the Hawks can move the ball. Michael Bates enters on third downs along with tight end Paul Green. Bates, as we mentioned, bronze medalist in the Olympic 200 meters at Barcelona. On first down, Meyer fakes to Chris Warren and then throws to Warren, and it's almost picked off. It was Dennis Gibson, number 57, the Charger middle linebacker, who had a shot at the football and couldn't hold on.
Dennis Gibson, middle linebacker, formerly of the Detroit Lions. He's one of the people that's been having a difficult time adjusting to the system of Bill Arnsparger. But here, he gets a gift. A great opportunity comes off the hands of Chris Warren. I know he wants that one back. Play action had him fooled for a minute, but he had a chance for a big turnover early for the Chargers.
Warren has been urging the Seattle coaching staff for 2 years to throw the football to him more. That doesn't help his argument. On second down 10, Meyer gives to Warren, and Chris Warren has big yardage out near midfield for the Seahawks before Dwayne Harper, a former Seahawk cornerback who went to San Diego as a free agent this year, makes the stop. First down for Seattle at the 49-yard line. San Diego's front four, Leslie O'Neal is the big name, but Chris Mims had 8 sacks in 9 games a year ago. If he stays healthy, it takes some of the pressure off O'Neal. Darian Gordon was the first-round draft choice at cornerback a year ago. He must step up in man-to-man coverage, and when they go to the nickel, reserve corner Sean Van Horst comes onto the field. After the first down of the ball game, it's Warren again for Seattle, and this time he's wrapped up after a gain of only a yard by Junior Seau, number 55 of the Chargers, maybe the most prolific tackler against the running game in the National Football League.
We mentioned earlier Dennis Gibson along with David Griggs. These are the linebackers that keep people off of Junior Seau. You remember during the 70s the great Jack Lambert. What that front four did, Jim, was that they prevented blockers from getting to Lambert, letting him go sideline to sideline. But trust me, Lambert had nowhere near the speed of number 55, Junior Seau.
Two wide receivers to the top of the screen on second down for Seattle. Flags down as Meyer drops straight back and throws to Blades for a short gain. It would be a pickup of about 4, but we will check with the officiating staff. Dwayne Harper on the stop for San Diego. The familiar face of Jerry Markwright about to enter your living room.
Interesting, though, it's tough to find him because of all of the old-time chapeaus they happen to be wearing here. Of course, normally the one referee has the white hat, everybody else black. Now, everybody with those lovely golf caps or taxi cab hats, if you prefer.
We have 2 fouls. Illegal motion, number 42, offense. Offside, number 93, defense. Penalties offset, second down.
Offsetting penalties against Chris Warren and Reuben Davis of the Chargers. And so the down will be replayed.
Well, now that's curious, Jim, because if the running back moves, he obviously is going to make the defense move. So it can't be coincidental. It's got to be one or the other.
Call Jerry. Good close-up look at Meyer on second down, 9 yards to go. Warren hit behind the line of scrimmage, but gets a couple after breaking that initial tackle. It'll bring up third down, 7 now for the Seahawks.
The big problem for the San Diego Chargers, if they have had one in the first 2 games going 2-0, has been their inability to stop the run. Coming into this game, Jim, the Charger defense was averaging over 6 yards per carry, which is astonishing to me that they're able to be 2-0 with that particular statistic. Thus far, except for the 1 run by Warren, they've done a pretty good job.
Both of these teams with highly favorable turnover ratios, and both coaches believe turnovers would decide the game today. On third and 7, Meyer throws complete to Blades. And Blades has first down yardage inside the 40 before being stopped by Harper.
Zone coverage on the part of the Chargers, and Brian Blades has been around enough to see it. Watch to the left of your screen. He's going to turn out on what should be an out route, but instead of continuing all the way, he stops just before getting hammered by Harper. That is an out route where he's supposed to go all the way across in man coverage. Because it was zone, smart enough to stop and pick it up. Meyer recognized the coverage and delivered the ball.
Terrific piece of possession receiving. They needed to get to the 41 for a first down. Blades got it to the 40. Michael Bates into the game replacing Blades on first down 10 from there. Play fake from Meyer. He throws over the middle. It's caught by number 82, the tight end Farrell Edmonds, and Edmonds is hit by Dennis Gibson after a gain of about 5. It'll be second down from just inside the 35-yard line.
The 6'6", 252-pound Edmonds, former graduate of Maryland and back-to-back Pro Bowls with the Miami Dolphins. Since he's come here, has not really established himself much as a receiver, but everybody talks about what a great run blocker he is, and with the additions of Paul Green and Michael Bates, that takes a little pressure off of him in the passing game. But he is somebody that they feel justifies the free agent salary that he accrued.
They call the pickup of 6. The ball's at the 33. It's second down and a short 4. Warren, moving off the strong side, is hit by Reuben Davis, who's a good run stopper from that defensive tackle position for the Chargers. Short of the first down, it'll be third and short for Seattle.
When we talked with the head coach, Bobby Ross, yesterday, he mentioned that man, Reuben Davis, being out with the injured elbow, you can see that dislocated elbow all bandaged up. He was one of the primary reasons as to why teams have been running so effectively, and he felt like he was a crucial cog in the defense, that they had to have him on that front 4.
Call it third down 4. They need to get the football just inside the 30 for a first down. Meyer rolling, gets away from a tackler, and is going to be dragged down short of the first down. Leslie O'Neal, number 91, was the first man to get a shot at Meyer, and then Reuben Davis came over to help out on the tackle.
But Jim, Chris Mims is the one that makes a play. Look at 94 at the bottom of your screen. Naked bootleg, he's not fooled. Not only does he get to him first, but he also holds up Paul Green, who is the intended receiver. And now at fourth down and 3, it appears that the Seahawks are going to go for it.
A product perhaps of the new field goal kicking rule in the National Football League, which would have seen a missed kick bring the ball all the way back out to the 32. Instead, the Hawks will go for it on fourth down 3. And Meyer again improvising. Needs to get the football well beyond the 30. He goes out of bounds, stretching the ball across the 30. David Griggs was there to make the stop for San Diego, and we'll have a measurement for the first down.
Jim, whether or not he makes it or not, I've got to tell you something. That type of effort is the sort of thing that endears you to your teammates. Here's your star quarterback, your million-dollar guy, extending himself trying to get the first down. He did not get the mark that he had wanted, and when we get a chance to show you a replay, he extended the ball a little bit farther than that, but this is what they gave him, and they got it anyway.
First down, Seattle.
Great protection on the part of Seattle, but great coverage by the Chargers. Now he takes out. This is actually good support from the secondary right at the last. Look where he extends the ball. He extends the ball right there, just past. But the official gave him the mark right at the spot, and they got it by 2 inches.
Gutty play by Meyer, underlining the point that every scout, every coach in the league will make about it. He is a vicious competitor. Double tight ends for the Seahawks on first down 10 with the ball just inside the 30-yard line. Warren gets a block and has a gain of about 3. It'll be second down 7. Seahawks made the stop for San Diego.
Leslie O'Neal, number 91, known more for his pass rush, right there does a good job of really taking on two blockers. In that case, both Tracy Johnson and Paul Green occupying two people so the secondary can come up and make the tackle. Number 91 is somebody, as the cliche goes, his motor is always running.
O'Neal now one of the smaller defensive ends in the NFL. The Seahawks with the biggest interior offensive line in the league. On second down, Meyer, good protection. Throws and misses, trying to get it to Michael Bates. Darian Gordon, number 21, there on the coverage for San Diego, and Bates stays down.
Bates, it looked like at the last minute, fell awkwardly when he collided with Gordon on the hook route. So
with the Seattle Seahawks training staff examining the former Olympic sprinter, we'll take a break. It's 0-0.
So watch to the right of your screen. It's going to be a hook route. Meyer throws it behind him. Watch right at the end. His body is exposed. He gets hit right at the last minute, lands awkwardly on his left leg, but fortunately he walked into the field under his own power, and there you see him.
But now as the Seahawks prepare to approach third down, 7, Bates is on the sideline. And replacing him on the field is the fourth wide receiver for Seattle, number 86, Rob Thomas. Double wide to the top, Thomas to the bottom of your screen. They need to get the football inside the 20 to the 19 to pick up a first down. Meyer out of the shotgun. Under pressure, releases to the end zone. It'll be picked off. Intended receiver was Thomas.
It's going to come back. It's going to come back.
It's going to be for interference. Number 44, Eric Castle, reserve safety for the Chargers, was the man on the coverage.
Now the call here.
First down, automatic at the spot of the foul.
Darian Gordon made a mistake. He has to understand who he's on. Rob Thomas to the right of your screen is a 4'8", 40 guy tops. Darian Gordon's a 4'3", 5", and he cuts off his path. Watch to the right of your screen. He actually cuts off his path here and does not allow him to get to the ball. And that's what the official saw, and that's the yellow flag you saw right there, which negated Castle's interception. Gordon was in good enough coverage. He just should have decided to cut him off. He should have rounded him stride for stride, knowing that Thomas had nowhere near the speed he did.
First round draft choice out of Stanford a year ago, under the gun to produce as a man-to-man cover guy for San Diego. First down now for Seattle at the 11-yard line. Warren loses the football. White jerseys all over it. It'll be a turnover from Seattle to San Diego. Number 94, Chris Mims, is the man who got up off the ball.
But Junior Seau was the one that came in on the blitz and got him in the backfield. Warren hadn't anticipated getting hit. Big turnover for the San Diego Chargers after the penalty. Right there, he never quite gets it. Backs off. Mims with a big recovery. San Diego in business when we return.
Now, the world's most advanced long-distance network, AT&T, brings you the most lifelike sound quality ever. It's AT&T True Voice. Listen to the difference.
Go.
It's a breakthrough in digital voice reproduction, and it's part of your basic service, just because you are with AT&T.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by the totally new Ford Contour, a world car for the 21st century. By AT&T, we help put your world within reach. By Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. And by Taco Bell, tacos, burritos, and nachos. Cross the border.
We bring it back to the first quarter. Seahawks versus Chargers. On their opening drive, the Seahawks kept the football 12 plays, but got nothing. Chris Warren fumbling it away. And on first down for the Chargers, they work against Seattle corner Patrick Hunter. The pass intended for Mark-Say is incomplete.
A little irony here, Jim. Remember in the Denver game, the first pass he threw to Mark-Say, he didn't come up with it. And they were concerned as to whether or not he'd lose himself in the game. Now this one, very catchable ball. He doesn't come up with it. We'll see what happens down the line.
On 2nd and 10 with the football at the 14-yard line, Ronnie Harmon comes onto the field. Maybe the best receiving back in the National Football League, now in there for San Diego. Humphreys drops straight back. Under pressure, gets rid of it. Broken tackle by Means. And Natrone Means, fastest rising young running back in the league, gets it out near the 20-yard line before Patrick Hunter makes the stop. San Diego offensive line, Joe Kokozo is the youngest player there in only his second year, but he's played very good football. They have kept Stan Humphrey's jersey clean through 2 games. Mark Say, wide receiver, is the best human interest story in the league. Plays with a bullet next to his heart. We'll tell you why later on in the game. The posse offense on 3rd down brings Harmon onto the field, along with the 3rd wide receiver, picked up from Miami this year, Tony Martin. On 3rd down 6, Humphreys throws over the middle, in and out of the hands of Mark Say. So 2 drops on the first series for San Diego's Mark Say.
And of more significance, Jim, because of the momentum of the turnover, you would have thought they wanted to do something more than just hold on to the ball for 48 seconds. You saw Stan Humphries give him the pat, and what he's really saying here is, that's behind you. That was my fault. Don't worry about it. We'll come back and do it again. Unfortunately for the Chargers, as I mentioned, they didn't do anything with it offensively. Now the Seahawks are going to be in good field position.
Chargers lost punter John Kidd to injury last week against Cincinnati. Newly acquired Brian Wagner comes on the field to kick it away, and Wagner hits it high and long. Fair catch at the 31-yard line by the outstanding Kelvin Martin of Seattle. And Seattle will have the football again when we come back.
Brian Wagner certainly justifies his existence early on, a 51-yard punt. The big issue with regards to John Kidd, besides his thigh injury, is the fact that John Kidd had been the holder for John Carney. Now, when we talked with Bobby Ross, he mentioned the fact that Gail Gilbert had done it in the preseason, but conceivably we could see Brian Wagner be the holder for John Carney. And trust me, having been around kickers long enough, Jim, they are a very superstitious lot, and they like to have that same battery, that same consistency from preseason to the regular season.
Well, sometimes it's more than superstition. I mean, there's a physical comfort in knowing exactly how the guy is going to put the ball down.
Yeah, that's right.
Double tight ends on 1st down for Seattle. 2nd possession of the game for the Seahawks. They held it for 7 minutes 20 seconds the first time and got nothing. Beryl Edmonds is the intended receiver. Dennis Gibson is there to defend for San Diego. It will be 2nd down 10.
Les O'Neal, number 91, punches the tight end. Now watch the little move there. That's the martial arts that he's been using. But of course, because of the 3-step drop, he was not afforded the chance. That's frustrating to defensive linemen, Jim, over the course of time. You can actually beat your man, have a terrific rush, and never get anywhere near the quarterback because of the proliferation of 3- and 5-step drops now in the league.
On 2nd and 10 from the 31, Meyer fakes to Warren, steps up in the pocket, gets away from one man, and goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line and draws a late hit from Dwayne Harper, which will give extra yardage to the Seahawks.
Well, that was foolish, but take a look at the end of the play. Brian Blades is the one that comes back and absolutely nails Dennis Gibson. And I think that's one of the reasons why Harper wanted to retaliate.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 28, defense. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Of course, doubly so too, Jim, because Dwayne Harper, a former Seahawk. Watch at the end. Watch number 89 is going to come from the right of your screen. Dennis Gibson just about to get him. Watch 89 Blades. Pow! He lets him have it. Now he's about 3 yards out of bounds. Yeah, that's a good call by the official. Terrible job by Harper. And for a veteran player like that, that's an unconscionable mistake.
The 15-yard walk-off will take the ball into San Diego territory just inside the 43-yard line. There you see Harper's numbers from his 6 seasons with the Seahawks. Seahawks had a complete changing of the guard at cornerback, then wound up losing 3 of their newly acquired corners in the offseason. On 1st down, Warren is wrapped up quickly. No gain. Sean Lee making the play from his defensive tackle position for San Diego.
Chargers are starting to attack a little bit up front in their front 7. They're starting to go with some inside blitzes. That time both Sayal and Dennis Gibson filled the gaps, forcing the 1-yard loss. Bill Arnsparger obviously is somebody who has perused this at great length and realized the key to the success of the Seahawks has been their ability to run the ball. So they want to make Meyer beat them.
2 of the most experienced and cerebral defensive coordinators in the league, Tom Catlin and Bill Arnsparger, going against each other in this game. Blades in motion on 2nd down for Seattle. Meyer rolls to Blades' side of the field and then is dropped as number 98, Sean Lee, got in there from his defensive tackle position.
But once again, the man that made the play was Chris Mims. That misdirection counter bootleg twice now has not fooled Chris Mims. Watch number 94. He's supposed to go with the flow of the play, and he does not. He is right on top of Meyer. He makes him sidestep right there. And, of course, as you mentioned, Lee picks up the garbage, but really Mims is the one that forced that sack.
2nd sack of the game for the Chargers, and now it will be 3rd down and long yardage for Seattle. Ball back in Seattle territory now at the 48. Michael Bates back on the field for the Seahawks, so the ankle is for the moment okay. Warren with the reception, dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. Number 98, Sean Lee, again there, along with Chris Mims, number 94.
The defensive ends for the San Diego Chargers are playing some outstanding football. The inside rush, look at O'Neal get away, put the pressure on. He threw the screen pass faster than he wanted to, and on the other side of it, number 94, the other defensive end, Mims, makes the tackle for a negligible gain.
Now Seattle's outstanding kicker, Rick Tootin, comes on to boot it away for the Seahawks, and Darian Gordon waits at his 10-yard line for San Diego. Tootin trying to keep it short of the goal line. Gordon will come up, call for, and make the fair catch at the 21-yard line. Good play on the relatively short punt by Gordon. 5:20 to go in the first quarter. We're scoreless in Seattle.
Rusty Tillman, defensive coordinator of the Seahawks, has his work cut out for him today because of the great balance that the San Diego Chargers have been able to establish in the first 2 weeks of the season.
On first down for San Diego at the 21-yard line, Netrone Means with his first carry from scrimmage for the game. Cortez Kennedy with his first tackle. There's the Seattle front four. You all know about Kennedy. Michael Sinclair in his 4th year in the league gets a start today, replacing the injured Antonio Edwards, and they look to him to bolster the pass rush. Seattle's linebackers and secondary, and you can see highlighted there, second-year cornerback Carlton Gray broke a leg a year ago, but the second-round draft choice from UCLA is playing terrific football so far this year. On the nickel, they bring in undrafted free agent rookie Orlando Waters. Second down, 9 yards to go for San Diego, looking for Means in the flat. Humphreys just misses.
But we mentioned at the top of the show, Jim, the fact that this is the guy who was the leading passer in the National Football League. There are his statistics. You can see terrific statistics, no interceptions, but thus far in the 3 balls that he's thrown, very inaccurate.
1 of 4 for 4 yards for Humphreys. The only completion was a little dink to Means. Now Tony Martin and Ronnie Harmon into the game on 3rd down for San Diego. They need 8 yards for a first down. Flags down.
Joe Kokozo a little anxious.
Number 68, offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You know, last week he goes against Dan Wilkinson. This week he's got to go against Cortez Kennedy. There's no rest for Joe Kokozo, Jim, and that's why he's a little bit anxious right there.
And there's a look at Tez. Tez mania continues in Seattle, despite the attention which is now lavished on quarterback Rick Meyer. Tez remains the biggest football figure in the Pacific Northwest. On 3rd down and 13, Humphreys throws complete for first down yardage across the 30 near the 34-yard line. Carlton Gray a little soft on the coverage against number 81, Tony Martin.
Well, that's because they had man-for-man coverage. They went with a safety blitz. Watch number 21, Raphael Robinson. He's coming up the middle. Ronnie Harmon able to pick it up, and Humphreys, what a terrific throw after 3 straight bad throws. Gets the ball right on the money to Martin. Watch when he turns the ball's thrown right now. Ball's already in the air. Gray really with not that bad a coverage, but Humphreys right on the money.
And meanwhile, the Seattle training staff is across the field now looking at Carlton Gray, who may have twisted a knee as he went down. And we remind you that next Sunday, NBC Sports presents a hard-hitting NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live. Many of you will see Dan Marino lead the Miami Dolphins into Minnesota to take on Warren Moon and the Vikings. In Game 2, many of you will see these same Chargers battle their bitter rivals, the Los Angeles Raiders, or New England meet Detroit. Our friends in Washington State will see the Seahawks against the Steelers at a special time, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific time, a move necessitated by the shift of the game from the Kingdome to Husky Stadium. Carlton Gray up, and that is terrific news to Seahawk fans who worried about the leg that he broke a year ago.
Watch the left leg at the end of the tackle. So many times right there you can see the foot got caught there. It's probably a little bit of an Achilles strain or an ankle. You can see that left leg there. That's one of the difficulties of AstroTurf. The traction is too good, Jim. Getting back to that 6 o'clock Eastern start, a concession to higher education, the convocation ceremonies for the freshmen here at the University of Washington. And you and I will be here next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Would I be alone in saying I hope they never get the Kingdome fixed? I mean, this is a terrific place for football games.
You know, it's interesting you'd say that because I can feel the collegiate ambience. It really is something. It's fun.
So now with Gray having been replaced in the lineup by number 31, free agent rookie Orlando Waters lining up in the left corner, San Diego has first down from the 35-yard line. Humphreys coming off that completion to Tony Martin, gives to Natrone Means. Means breaks the initial contact at the line of scrimmage and falls forward for a gain of about 3. Credit the tackle to number 90, Terry Wooden, outside linebacker for the Hawks.
Number 96 bringing on the double team, and take a look at what that does. The play is supposed to go off guard and off tackle, and a lot of times number 96 might not make the tackle, but what he does there is takes up 2 blockers, almost 3, forces again a short gain.
On second down, 8 yards to go. Means in motion behind Humphreys. The give is to Means, I should say.
They made no bones about the fact that number 20 has to shoulder the load. In trading Marion Butts to the New England Patriots, they in effect said to the youngster from North Carolina, you're the man, and you're going to get your 20 to 22 carries per game. Seemingly a lot of pressure for the second-year man, but he has really stepped up, averaging over 100 yards a game in the first 2 contests.
107 yards last week against Cincinnati. And with that gain of about 4, he makes it third down. Calling a short 4 and a long 3 yards to go. Humphreys throws.
What a catch!
Ronnie Harmon.
What a catch!
Best third down back in the league. Picks up the first down for San Diego before Waters knocks him out of bounds.
And Jim, that was an absolutely atrocious throw by Stan Humphreys. But Ronnie Harmon, 260 catches in this decade, the most of any running back. Here's why. Way behind him, comes back on the one hand, makes the catch, runs through Waters to get the requisite yardage for the first down. That's why that man right there, as you mentioned, Jim, best third down back in the game.
They get it to the 47-yard line. Still in San Diego territory. Harmon extending the streak. As you see there on the graphic, 52 consecutive games with a pass caught. Jefferson in motion behind Humphreys. They give to Natrone Means, and Means starting to heat up a little. Has a gain of 5 before Rufus Porter, number 97, makes the stop for Seattle.
Jim, it's not just Natrone Means who is heating up. It's the offensive line for the San Diego Chargers. They've done an outstanding job. As we mentioned, they've kept Humphreys sackless since December of last year. They're starting to create some holes now, starting to wear down some of the defensive ends, in particular the Seahawks.
Credit Means with a gain of 5. Second down 5 for the Chargers. Clock running down in the first quarter. Less than 2 minutes to go. Play fake from Humphreys. Wide open downfield is Say, and Stan Humphreys couldn't get the football into his hands. Patrick Hunter was beaten on the coverage.
And that's got to be frustrating for Say because he ran a terrific route. He's wide open, and once again, Stan Humphreys throws the ball behind. Jim, I believe that's about the 4th time that's happened. He's been behind the receivers. I mean, he's had a rapport with these people through training camp, and now there you can see the ball sailing just a little bit. Say wide open, but he can't come up with it.
So it's third down 5 as Say comes back to the bottom of the screen. Means is the setback behind Humphreys. Pass is complete for first down yardage. Working against the rookie Orlando Waters, it's number 80 Sean Jefferson with the catch, and now we'll take a look at the flags and wait for a call from Jerry Markbright.
Pass interference, number 86, offense. 10-yard penalty, third down.
Call is against H-back Alfred Papunu, and Bobby Ross wants an interpretation.
Inevitably, so much, his argument right there is that the collision downfield is incidental. So many times, particularly for a tight end, and I say this from experience, you get the collisions at about 5 or 10 yards, and you have to push off because the guy's holding on. In this case, the official decided that Papunu did most of the pushing in the contact, and as a result, he's the one that's penalized.
Update on Carlton Gray, cornerback for Seattle, is left ankle sprain, and he will return. On third down now, long for Humphreys. He gets away from one man, fires downfield, and appears to have the first down as Tony Martin makes the clutch catch along the sideline, and number 41, Eugene Robinson, wants to make his presence felt.
And that was a heads-up job on the part of Martin, coming back to your quarterback who's scrambling. Martin, in his days with Marino, because of the gun that he had for an arm, would take off for the end zone, but this time he makes the comeback. Watch him come back to the ball and get his feet down. Humphrey's doing the right thing, too, here, picking on that side of the ball where Orlando Waters has replaced Carlton Gray. Right there at the end, kind of incidental fisticuffs there. Eugene Robinson, not one of those talking tough guys. All-pro free safety.
And a timeout now for San Diego, as Stan Humphries wants to go talk to his offensive staff. 1 minute, 5 seconds remaining in the first quarter. We are still scoreless in Seattle. Chargers with their second possession, moving the football. And they have so far taken it 37 yards on this trip. Meanwhile, we look ahead to an entertainment program here on NBC. The most talked about move since the Dodgers left Brooklyn, Frasier, moves to Tuesday this week. Don't miss the season premiere of Frasier, Tuesday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on NBC.
Jim, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Frasier win the Emmy Award for Best Comedy?
It did indeed. Kelsey Grammer's program has made a huge splash
and he is
in his first 2 years.
Very clever. He is a lot of fun. Very excellent ensemble cast. I really enjoy the work of his father, played by John Mahoney. Outstanding actor.
You're totally hip on these subjects, aren't you, Todd?
No, I'm a John Mahoney fan. Did you ever see a show called Say Anything? Movie with Cusack and a girl named Ione Skye.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
John Mahoney was the father of the girl. He was terrific in that.
John Cusack, a major boxing fan. I see him at big fights all the time.
Well, he played the role. Wasn't he a kickboxer in the movie, as I recall?
He was indeed. Yeah.
And he actually looked credible. I mean, he looked pretty good. By the way, speaking of which, once again, the argument, I'm sure that's the continued argument regarding the offensive pass interference. Speaking of boxing, Julio Cesar Chavez gets his revenge. 8th round TKO. Were you surprised?
Well, that's not exactly revenge. You'll recall, of course, that Chavez got the KO over Meldrick Taylor 4 years ago. And no, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised. I was of the opinion that Chavez would have enough left to beat a Meldrick Taylor who is nowhere near the same fighter that he was on March 17, 1990.
I guess that's what I meant when I said revenge, is because everybody assumes that Chavez isn't either. And they're talking about it's time for you to go. You don't have your skills.
Revenge is upcoming for Chavez if he gets his match with Frankie Randall.
Correct, yeah.
Who put the loss on his record. On first down, reverse for San Diego. This is Tony Martin, the former quarterback, who throws for Means and has it picked off by Patrick Hunter. And Hunter's got a lot of running room in front. This is Martin who misses the tackle. And Hunter's inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Yard interception return for Patrick Hunter sets Seattle up with a scoring threat. Tough play for Tony Martin.
San Diego opts to get fancy here, and this is supposed to be a throw. It's a throw downfield, and actually he got held up by Eugene Robinson. Robinson gets away with the hold downfield. Instead, he decides to throw across his body and doesn't fool anyone. The ball is a duck out there to Means, and as you mentioned, Hunter makes the interception, goes nearly the distance, setting up the Seahawks in great position there at the 13-yard line.
On first down, Meyer throws, complete to Blades, and Blades is wrapped up in the flat by Dwayne Harper.
Can't help but see the irony of that, Jim. Harper and Blades certainly been going against each other a lot in practice. Now we have someone else down in the field.
And Hunter's running mate at cornerback for the lean years of the past 4 or 5 here in Seattle was Dwayne Harper. Meanwhile, it is Chris Warren who's down on the field, and that would be a cataclysmic loss for the Seahawks.
Well, certainly last year in a game against Pittsburgh when he was hurt, John Vaughn came in and had an outstanding game, 120-plus yards, but certainly your major horse, you don't want to see any time on the field laid out like this.
Vaughn had some big moments in 1992 with the, at that time, desperate Patriots. A couple of 100-yard games for New England prior to coming here to Seattle. Tom Flory's worried on the sideline now, and you can see the Seattle players gathering around to take a look at Chris Warren and try to figure out what his situation is. And up comes Warren. Turns to the trainer and says, "What happened to me?"
Trainer Todd Sperber there taking a look at him, asking him if he's okay, and I think it's one of those deals where you got the elbow bump. You get one of those shooters of pain when you hit that funny bone in your elbow, and I think that's what he's what he's motioning to.
The gain on the pass to Blades was 5 yards from the 18 to just inside the 13. You see where the football is marked there. They need to get it just inside the 8-yard line for a first down.
Second down, 5.
So it's second down, exactly 5. Meyer will operate with a single setback behind him. It's number 22, John Vaughn, on the field replacing Warren. And here goes Vaughn. Inside the 10, down to about the 8. Pickup of nearly 5. And Darren Carrington, number 29, made the stop from strong safety for the Chargers.
John Vaughn does a good job. Les O'Neill's trying to adjust some people there, and at the last minute, clearly they were not in the right position. Good job by the offensive line of the Seahawks, but clearly the San Diego Chargers were discombobulated.
And on that play, the first quarter is coming to a close. So the clock reaches 0. And after one period, an eventful one, we are still scoreless in Seattle, but the Seahawks about to threaten that. As we bring you back live to Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, the battle between the unbeaten San Diego Chargers and the unbeaten Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, after a 68-yard interception return by Patrick Hunter, have arrived at third down, 1 yard to go. With the football on the 8-yard line, they need to get it just inside the 8 to pick up the first down. Second scoring threat of the game for Seattle. Steve Smith, fullback behind Meyer, takes the ball and fumbles it. I was about to say the first scoring threat was squandered on a Chris Warren fumble, and now the officials are going to rule here that Smith's forward progress had been halted prior to his loss of the ball.
Contact. And it's first down.
Steve Smith came here with the idea, he was one of the salary cap victims. The Raiders decided not to pay his salary, and he came up here to rejoin Tom Flores. This is what he does. Right there. It's debatable. You can't see. I would think that by the fact that Steve Smith is reaching out for the ball, you saw him just there pat the AstroTurf, that he does not agree with the official. I think he thinks he was still going. Check the body language of the players. When they rush after it like that, they know they fumbled.
To Smith's great satisfaction, he was effective on fourth down short yardage against his former team, the Raiders, last week in what Los Angeles radio commentators affectionately refer to as the Mausoleum. First down goal from the 7-yard line. Meyer in the end zone throws behind the intended receiver, Kelvin Martin, and the flag is down. Bobby Ross isn't going to like this much either, because it might have been an uncatchable
Pass
ball.
interference, number 28, defense in the end zone. First down on the 1-yard line.
Wayne Harper again.
Here's one of the issues now of the bump rule that makes it that much more difficult for defensive backs. Take a look now at the bottom right of your screen, number 28. Where's the hand? Where's the hand? Right there you see the left hand come across, but it seems like it's simultaneous. That's awfully tough to call that, simply because of the fact, Jim, that's got to be maybe the toughest position in football anymore, the exception of quarterback, is to play cornerback. Not only because of the great receivers now in the league, but the restriction of the rules.
3 tight ends on the field for Seattle. Now Edmonds flexes to the right and comes in motion. Meyer throws into the end zone for Edmonds, and he drops the touchdown as he makes contact with the artificial turf again. Wayne Harper on the cover.
And again, a flag is down, and they're going to call Harper for interference again.
This will be Harper's 3rd interference of the game.
Pass interference, number 28, defense in the end zone. Half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
Wayne Harper temporarily cornering the market on interference here.
Well, certainly he's coming back to Seattle with a bang, but I'm not sure this is exactly what he had in mind. This isn't the kind of notoriety he would like. Edmonds pushes off a little, but you can see right there he grabs onto him. Difficult time in the end zone, because in those cases, Jim, the defensive back is going to say, I've got nothing to lose. I don't want to give up the touchdown. I think that one, as opposed to the other two, is one that he'll take.
First and goal, football, as you see, just inside the 1-yard line. Chris Warren is out of the game for the moment for Seattle. So getting the football is John Vaughn, and Vaughn, not as big, not as physical as Warren, is knocked down behind the line.
Jim, that's very astute. You've got a guy here who's 5'5", 5'9", about 190 to 95 pounds. This is a situation where they might want to go with 2 fullbacks. They might want to put in Johnson and Smith, 235, 240 pounders, to get that 1 yard.
Kind of surprising that they didn't on first down. And meanwhile, Chris Warren, we're told, is having his elbow x-rayed at the moment. On second down now, with the ball out at the 2-yard line, it's a pitch to Vaughn. San Diego's going to turn this one around. Flags go down as Vaughn comes back and is knocked down outside the 20.
Jim, I think he's hurt too. He wasn't tackled right there. He just fell down there at the 21-yard line. I think he might have pulled something. You saw right at the end of the run, you know, he still has the ability to run, but then all of a sudden he just fell down. I think he's hurt.
How about the penetration by the left side of the San Diego defensive line, and defensive tackle Reuben Davis, number 93, was again in the thick of the action.
Well, Jim, I hate to second guess my old coach Tom Flores, but as you mentioned at the outset, this is the largest offensive line in the National Football League. What are you doing running outside? Why can't you run between the tackles with 300-plus average offensive linemen? What in a way that can be is a counterproductive psychological ploy to tell your offensive line
Holding
you can't get it in.
on number 75, offense. The penalty is declined. It'll be third down, timeout.
So the holding call against Howard House Ballard, free agent Pro Bowl acquisition from Buffalo, is going to be declined. And the Chargers have forced the Seahawks into 3rd and goal at the 21 when we come back.
A lot of champagne glasses have been used to prove how smooth the car can be at high speed. Surely, a toast is in order for a truck that can do the same. Dodge Ram. The rules have changed. At America's truck stop, the new Dodge.
So I didn't notice my wife got her hair cut, so she said...
You never notice anything.
I noticed that cheeseburgers at Burger King have 75% more beef than McDonald's. They come with fries and a drink for only $1.89. So she said, maybe you should go live there.
Burger King. Get your burger's worth.
Every day, some businesses that aren't using AT&T send international faxes that don't go through. Soon, things will change. AT&T will guarantee your international faxes get across.
When you're driving in the rain, water on the road can make you feel like you're riding on marbles. It gets under your tires and you can lose traction. So, Goodyear created the award-winning AquaTread. Its deep groove aqua channel moves over a gallon of water away per second to help keep more tire in contact with the road for outstanding wet weather traction, especially in braking. The all-season AquaTread, only from Goodyear. We say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Next Sunday, a blockbuster doubleheader. First, Dan Marino and the Dolphins take on Warren Moon and his new team, the Minnesota Vikings. Then, rising star Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots meet running back extraordinaire Barry Sanders and the Lions. Or the Raiders face the Chargers. Or regional action. Get all you need to know in one complete 30-minute helping with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern.
Reuben Davis actually pokes John Vaughn in the eye. Right there, you can see it catches him right in the eye, and right there he falls down. Fortunately, it wasn't a leg, but certainly his vision was impaired, and that's why he went down.
So it's 3rd and goal at the 21. Ball throws in and out of the hands of Kelvin Martin, and the Seahawk offense, with a golden opportunity to break the scoreless tie, fell apart.
And right there, Jim, people are saying to themselves, why don't they throw to the end zone? They've got 3rd and goal. What you want to do there is you want to give yourself an opportunity for a shorter field goal. I don't want to get consumed with statistics, but inside the 20, much easier for the kickers to kick. Now we're facing about a 38-yard field goal, which in a lot of cases isn't automatic.
John Casey, one of the most consistent kickers in the National Football League, number 4 draft pick out of Georgia in 1991.
Trey Junkin, the snapper, Rick Tootin, the holder.
Good hold by Tootin on the off-center snap from Junkin, and Casey gets it through. So with 13 minutes remaining before halftime, Seattle has broken the scoreless tie in Husky Stadium. They lead 3-0.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dodge. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. By Burger King. Value every day. Have it your way. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Castrol Syntec, the full synthetic motor oil that protects in ways other oils can't.
Jim Lampley and Todd Christensen with you live from Husky Stadium in Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks have just gotten a field goal from John Casey to go on top in the football game 3-0. 13 minutes to go in the second quarter, a game in which the Seahawks have possessed the ball Probably about twice as much as the Chargers. Will get that number in a moment, but San Diego's defense has been valiant. Tony Martin takes the kickoff in his end zone, across the 20, running room across the 25 to about the 27-yard line before Patrick Hunter helps to bring him down for Seattle. Michael Bates also downfield to help out on the tackle. And you look at John Casey walking off the field. He just broke the scoreless tie.
And very unsung here is the hold, as you pointed out, Jim, very adroitly by Rick Tootin. Watch the catch he makes. Now watch when he puts the ball down. He spins it with the laces out. Take a look at that. What a tremendous job by Tootin, as Casey already into his step. These people, extremely valuable in a lot of cases, don't get their due for that specific service.
That was a three-point hold for Rick Tootin. Remember, on the other side of the field, San Diego will be breaking in a new holder for John Carney today, having lost John Kidd. On first down, Stan Humphries throws down the middle to Sean Jefferson, and Jefferson gets away from tacklers for a gain out close to the 40-yard line. Eugene Robinson stopped him, but not before a first down for the Chargers.
Jefferson shows a little elusive ability. Bobby Ross mentioned the fact that even though they lost their starting wideouts last year, in Nate Lewis and Anthony Miller, they felt that Jefferson was going to be a starter anyway. He is their speed guy, and over the course of the season, they look to him for some big plays.
We're still waiting to hear about the injury to Chris Warren of Seattle and also to John Vaughn, his backup. Meanwhile, center Courtney Hall, the Pro Bowler for San Diego, is out of the game with a left bicep tear, and Curtis Whitley replaces him for the Chargers. On first down, they go behind Whitley, and Means on the delay gets across the 40 to about the 44. Pick up a 5. Rod Stevens on the tackle for Seattle.
Well, Courtney Hall was so valuable to the San Diego Chargers. He was the one in the offseason that they gave a multi-million-dollar deal to, an awful lot of money for a center. But they're talking about his brilliance and his ability to make the calls on the offensive line. This really is a big loss, because he's the guy who really is the captain of that offensive line when they shift calls.
So it is Whitley in the game now, number 64, snapping to Humphries on second down with Ronnie Harmon in. They go to Harmon over the middle, and Harmon tries to get first down yardage out to the 50, and I think he's got it before, excuse me, Rod Stevens makes the stop.
There's Courtney Hall right there. You can see the bicep all bandaged up. More than likely, you can tell with the hand to his face, he's not likely to come back in the game, and really that's a big loss for the offensive line of the Chargers, Jim.
I believe torn bicep is the same injury that sidelined Harris Barton of the San Francisco 49ers, and Barton's out for 6 to 8 weeks. On first down for the Chargers at the 49, Humphries under pressure gets rid of it to Natrone Means, and Means is down near the 40 at about the 42-yard line.
No one is going to ever accuse Stan Humphries of being somebody who has the feet of Steve Young, but he does a nice job of eluding the rush. Watch the sidestep that he makes to the left, and then a sidearm throw to Means. Under pressure there from the middle, just about to get sacked, gets the ball off, and Means gets it up the field. Nice play by Humphries.
You see the block on Sinclair there. It was number 93, Brent Williams, who almost got to Humphries. Joe Nash had a big push up the middle as well. Second down, short yardage. 3 yards to go for San Diego. This is Means. And Means, with the excellent sidestep, gets past the first tackler and picks up first down yardage inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. Terry Wooden finally makes the tackle for the Hawks.
Jim, this is what personifies the reason why they went with Means instead of Butts. Butts is one of those guys that just slams it in there. There you can see, as you mentioned, Means cuts to where the hole is supposed to be. It's not there. Sidesteps to the right. Shows some amazing feet for a man who's 5'10", 240 pounds.
So it's first down now at the 37. San Diego with a smart-looking drive, trailing 3-0. Humphries gives to Means. Means again steps sideways past tacklers and has a gain of about 4 down near the 38-yard line. Eugene Robinson makes the stop, and another nice piece of running by Natrone.
You mentioned a smart drive. Take a look at the center here. Whitley, he hustles it and cuts off Cortez Kennedy. That is a load, and he's the one. Look at that, pushing him downfield. That's a great job by Whitley, actually turning that 310-pound all-pro around. Give Whitley credit there. Nice job on that play.
4-yard gain out of practically nothing for Means. It'll be second down 6. They need to get it to the 32 for a first down. Means elects to go outside and is finally run out of bounds. Or check it, it's Eric Bieniemy with the football. Bieniemy on the field to give Means a little bit of a breather. Rod Stevens and Robert Blackman finally ran him out, and you see the numbers on Bieniemy for the season.
Had a bad attitude last year and demanded to be traded, but this year came to training camp, worked extremely hard. They like his attitude now and the way he's playing football. Excellent special teams player, former 1,500-yard rusher for the Colorado Buffaloes. 5'7", 195 pounds. Outstanding weightlifter.
Enjoyed watching his Buffaloes beat Wisconsin in Boulder last night. He was happy about it today. Third down now for San Diego. Humphries throws in the flat and just over the outstretched hands of Ronnie Harmon.
But are we in 4-down territory, Jim? That's the issue, and it appears that they are. On the 33-yard line, they're going to go for it. This puts so much pressure on the defense. It really does. You know, because of the number of 4th-down opportunities. I mean, Jim, last year we'd see 1 or 2 in a game. You know, possibly. Now they're going to be at least a half dozen from game to game. It makes it exciting.
4th down, 6 yards to go. Ball is at the 33. They need to get it to the 27 for a first down. Seahawks crowd rises to the occasion. Humphries tosses to number 81, Tony Martin, and Martin slips inside for running room and has the first down. A 4th down conversion for Humphries and the Lightning Bolts.
Great call by Ralph Friedgen, the offensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. A pass that they have not done yet. It's the flanker screen. Watch him just come underneath. Right away he throws it and people go right to the blocks. You see Ronnie Harmon come out there, knock Blackman out of the play. Whitley downfield. Great job by the offensive line of the San Diego Chargers, and very creative thinking to come up with something that as yet they had not tried, surprising the Seahawks secondary.
In his first half dozen plays or so, they're getting an all-pro performance out of reserve center Curtis Whitley, who has come on in place of Courtney Hall. On first down, the fake to Means into the end zone for Jefferson, and it was thrown too deep. Orlando Waters was recovering, trying to close the ground for Seattle.
It's the exact same play that the Seattle Seahawks had been running, and Chris Mims was not fooled. The misdirection fake corner route to Jefferson, but he ran out of room. Take a look at the right side. The Seattle Seahawks are not fooled. He runs out on the bootleg and he has time, but Sinclair is right there in his face, and he forces him to throw it away. Good job by the secondary of the Seahawks.
It will be 2nd down 10. Football is at the 23-yard line. Humphries with Means behind him. Means running behind Papunu's block. Gets inside the 20 and down to the 18.
Alfred Papunu, you mentioned the H-back in the position of fullback, gets a good block to spring Means. I think if Means would have stayed to the inside, he might have gotten the first down, but he wanted to go the distance, and in cutting to the outside, might have cost himself the first down. Alfred Papunu, a lot of people don't realize, out of Weber State, his senior year, Jim, caught 92 balls for over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. People think of him mostly as a blocking tight end, but he has terrific hands, and Bobby Ross was telling us that they're looking to him to make a major contribution this season.
92 catches as a senior in college. In his H-back position for the Chargers, he could play 10 years without catching 92 balls. 3rd down 6 for San Diego. Humphries near the goal line. Misses Sean Jefferson. Patrick Hunter had fallen down for Seattle, but got back up to be involved in the play.
A little bit of pressure, but plenty of time. This is the comeback route, a deep comeback at about 17 yards. Right in his face there, making the ball go a little bit high. Look at the top of your screen. You're right. He does fall down. A little bit of collision right there, but that's a catchable ball. Jefferson has to come up with that one.
And now Carney on to kick. And the holder, Gail Gilbert, holding for the first time today for Carney. They try this 36-yard field goal attempt. Bin snap, Gilbert's hold, Carney's kick is down the middle, and we are level at 3 apiece. 7 minutes, 11 seconds to go in the second quarter, right here by Lake Washington and Husky Stadium. We'll be back.
New holder, Gail Gilbert, has afforded the luxury of a terrific, look at the snap, look at the laces. Perfect snap by David Bin. Gail Gilbert gets it down and Carney gets it through the uprights. Outstanding job there by both snapper and holder.
So Carney's field goal levels the game at 3 apiece. And the kick goes to Michael Bates. And Bates excites the crowd with his spectacular speed. Gets the football across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. Want to talk about Monday's special 1-hour premiere, Comedy Blitz, with the special 1-hour season premiere, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time tomorrow night. Following The Fresh Prince, the most acclaimed new show of the season, ER, a 2-hour movie preview. That's tomorrow night at 9 Eastern. A big night of premieres tomorrow evening on NBC. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, followed by ER.
Did you ever see Will Smith in 6 Degrees of Separation?
I thought he was spectacular in 6 Degrees of Separation.
He's quite an actor.
On first down,
number 4.
Number 4. The flag. And it's Dwayne Harper again, as you're pointing out, Todd Christensen, his 4th interference of the day.
I don't know what his argument was. He was all over the back of the receiver.
This guy was a very respected
Pass
player.
interference, number 28, defense. First down, the side of the 5.
Respected by his Seahawks teammates, who now watch him pick up 4 first-half pass interference flags against them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Respected. He was somebody that Dr. Z, as he's affectionately known, Paul Zimmerman, picked him 2 years ago as his all-pro quarterback. But clearly, you can see even Blades gets up and said, "What's the deal?" 2 officials dropped the flag, number 4 for Harper.
So it's first down from the 37. Meyer pump fake doesn't fool Harper. Kelvin Martin, the receiver, and another flag.
That can't be number 5. He does a great job.
That was perfect coverage.
He did a great job of turning up the field. He was not fooled. My guess is they might get Martin for the push.
Number 84, offense.
Good call,
10-yard
Todd.
penalty, first down.
When you've got the out and up move, inevitably what happens is either the cornerback gets completely fooled and you've got to throw, or he does a great job. Right there you can see he's ahead. Look at Martin right there, pulling on his arm, trying to prevent the interception. The flag comes out. Good call by the official to be there. Harper points it out. He says, "Yeah, a little retribution, babe. You got me 4 times, but now you got them once."
And how about the Seattle offensive staff going after Harper? They know that with the 4 flags already thrown, he's bound to be a little bit disoriented and confused. So the pump fake on the fly was definitely an attempt to mess with his head.
Didn't phase him. Didn't phase him. He's a pro.
On first down 10, blitz for San Diego, picked up by Seattle, but the pass is almost picked off. A little bit too high for Kelvin Martin. Darian Gordon on the coverage.
And you mentioned earlier that Darian Gordon has to justify his existence as a number 1 pick. Twice now he's nearly come up with interceptions. Remember earlier in the first quarter the coverage that he had on Bates. Take a look at this break on the ball. He's right there. Even if he makes the catch, he might jar it loose with the hit. Great athletic ability keeping up in the air, but he couldn't quite hang on to it.
Second and 20.
Second down 10. Make it second down 20 after the first down interference call. Meyer looking for half of that yardage, and he throws behind number 87, Paul Green, as they were working against Harper again.
Threw behind Paul Green, but even so, it would have been about a 4-yard gain. The secondary of the Chargers doing a good job.
So now it will be third down 20. Football is at the 27-yard line. They need to get it all the way to the 47 for a first down. Nickel package on for San Diego.
A lot of cases, this is a chance. The defense has to be careful to not just back up into a prevent and just hand them big yardage, because that's what happens. You get a little bit lazy.
Seattle with Bates and Warren both on the field. That's a lot of speed. But Meyer will be dragged down from behind on the terrific outside move by Leslie O'Neal.
This is why he's the all-time leading sacker for the San Diego Chargers with 81 sacks. In the stand-up position, look at the move he puts on Roberts. In, out, in, out. Look at how quick the hands are coming around the corner. Leslie O'Neal, when he came into the league, a 4.6 sprinter, shows that it's not just speed and quickness, but technique. Great pass rush by number 91.
Third sack for the Chargers, and that moves Rick Tootin back inside his 10 at the 6-yard line to get the punt away. Darian Gordon deep for San Diego. He won't get anywhere near it. It's off the side of Tootin's foot. A rare bad kick for the Seattle punter, and San Diego will have an outstanding opportunity with the football in San Diego territory, or almost in there, when we come back.
Even though Ray Roberts is taking advantage of the new rule, look at his left foot back on the hash, 2 yards off the ball. It still was not enough as Leslie O'Neal grabs, moves, cuts around the side, and gets his second sack of the ball game.
Mims also there for some involvement, but officially credited to O'Neal, his second sack of the game. First down for the Chargers, and that pass is incomplete from Humphries to Sean Jefferson, as Orlando Waters was there to knock Jefferson out of bounds.
I don't think it's coincidental that Stan Humphries has been going to that side. Carlton Gray has yet to get back in the game. He's picking on Orlando Waters.
Waters so far holding his own. Second down 10 from the San Diego 49. Bieniemy is in the game in place of Means. Total yards
Well, you know what's interesting about that graphic, Jim, is the fact that we've been conditioned, at least thus far into the season, that we're going to have all these offensive slugfests. Clearly, this is not the case here. They're not going up and down the field. The defenses have been dominant.
On second down, it's Bieniemy with the football, and the quick man from Colorado is wrapped up by one of the excellent middle linebacker tacklers in the league, Rod Stevens of Seattle.
A very underrated middle linebacker. Last week against the Los Angeles Raiders had 2 sacks going from the rush position, but he is somebody that makes plays and hits people. He is another example of the fact that judging talent in the NFL is hardly an exact science. Nobody was that interested in him. Now he's not only the starter, he's a great player for the Seahawks.
6th-year player, originally a free agent out of Georgia Tech. On third down and 9 yards to go. Ronnie Harmon in the game for San Diego. Humphries rolls left, gets away from pressure, throws underneath to number 81, Tony Martin. And there to wrap Martin up and prevent the first down is Orlando Waters. Meanwhile, a flag is down back in the pocket.
Appears that they might have had roughing the passer there. I thought Orlando Waters made an outstanding play to prevent.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 97, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down.
Rufus Porter coming off an Achilles tendon injury, sprints in. There, he's got him right there. He doesn't have to do that. Larry puts the arm up. Humphries complains about it, and he gets the flag.
Would that have been roughing the passer last year?
No, absolutely not. They're very conscious of protecting the stars this year, and clearly Rufus Porter right there, he didn't have to do that. And that's what Jerry Markwright is thinking. Hey, does he have to do that? Is his momentum taking him there? And clearly in that case it didn't.
Detrone Means back in the game on first down for San Diego with the football at the 33. And this is Means with good yardage down inside the 30 to about the 25. Rod Stevens makes the top for Seattle.
Good job by the right side of the offensive line, spearheaded by Stan Brock, who seems like he's been in the league forever. Take a look at the gap here from the end zone. Look at the hole right there. Stevens overruns it. That's a chasm is what that is. Big hole for Means. Nice run.
Pickup of 7 on first down. It'll be second down 3 for San Diego. A lot of options for Humphries on this down from the 25-yard line. They elect to stay on the ground with Means, and Means tries to press forward for the first down, but appears to be stopped about a yard short of it by Cortez Kennedy and Stevens. They went right at Tez.
Stevens did a nice job there of forcing the play. Papuno plays the role of fullback, and Stevens stuffs him in the hole, and that's why Means was unable to get the first down.
And as the Chargers tried to break this tie and go ahead on this scoring threat, the Seattle offensive staff wrestles with problems on its sideline. Chris Warren being x-rayed for an elbow injury. John Vaughn poked in the eye, will not return. They don't have a tailback. On third down, 1 yard to go. Means gets a big hole on the right side and breaks across the 20 to about the 17. Eugene Robinson with the stop. Another first down for the Lightning Bolts.
Once again, Joe Malinchik and Stan Brock do an outstanding job of creating a gap for Natron Means. You wouldn't have thought that it would be this kind of gap in short yardage, but look at the job. Good lead block there by the Rocket, Steve Hendrickson, that enables Means to burst into the secondary and set him up and shop at the 17-yard line. Offensive line for the Chargers playing some dominant football.
So it's first and 10 from here. Jefferson in motion. Humphries doesn't like what he sees. Second timeout of the half used by San Diego. So the Chargers will have one remaining with 3:22 to go in the half. We are tied up at 3 apiece in Husky Stadium. Unbeaten Chargers against unbeaten Hawks.
You know, MCI makes it sound so easy to get big savings with those friends and family plans, but first you got to give out a list of names and numbers of your friends and family. Then MCI will try to call and sign them up, and still, anytime you call anybody not on your list, you won't save anything at all. You may even have to pay up to $36 a year in fees. Could be it's just a lot of hoopla after all.
Your true voice.
A lazy Sunday afternoon for some in Seattle, but there is intensity inside Husky Stadium as Seahawks fans treasure a chance for their first 3-0 Seattle start since 1986. Right now it is the Chargers who appear to be tactically in a slightly better position, as with 3:22 to go in a half, they have a scoring threat and a chance to break a 3-3 tie.
And normally you ask yourself the question, why a timeout here? I like this timeout for a couple of reasons. One is to overcome the fatigue, and another because scoring has been so sparse, 3-3 at this point. They want to be exact for what it is they want to do down here in the red zone. They want to get the touchdown.
Football is at the 17-yard line. Natrone Means, who has powered this drive for San Diego. Flag is down as Means gets to about the 14-yard line.
More than likely a hold, and I think it might be on Whitley, the center.
Holding number 68, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Rookie guard Joe Kokozo, who had a terrific game against Dan Wilkinson of the Bengals last week.
Well, this is really a tough penalty, getting inside the 15 now and having to move back 10 yards. Kokozo, as you mentioned, up against the tough guys all the time. There's the right hand. That's what they see. Look at the hand actually inside the shoulder pad. Only for a short period of time, but the umpire caught it.
Could it be that during the timeout, Cortez Kennedy went to an official and said, hey, watch his move. He's getting me up underneath the shoulder pad and holding me.
Yeah, because that was hardly flagrant. You're absolutely right, Jim. That could be.
On second down, Humphries throws to
Means. Nice move.
Past one tackler and gets it back to the original line of scrimmage at the 17. Terry Wooden, sure tackler from the outside linebacker position, makes the stop for the Hawks.
Jim, when I was with the Dallas Cowboys, they had a great third down back that you'll remember the name of Preston Pearson. And Tony Hill used to refer to Preston Pearson as somebody that had sweet feet. Take a look at the sweet feet. Look at the move he puts on Rod Stevens. Just leaves him in his tracks. The San Diego Chargers are really blessed because they have two such people with sweet feet. Natrone Means and, of course, Ronnie Harmon.
Second down, 12 yards to go. Means moves it down inside the 15 to about the 13. Flags down again. Orlando Waters on the stop for Seattle. Gonna go against San Diego.
Holding number 87, offense. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Tight end Dwayne Young.
Now this makes for an interesting decision because if they had taken the play, they come up 3rd and 8. Now they ask themselves the question, they think that they can move them back out of field goal position. And that shows a lot of confidence on the part of Rusty Tillman and his defensive troops.
You can see that the football is being placed outside the 25 at the 27-yard line. They need to get it to the 7-yard line for a first down. Ronnie Harmon on the field. Second down. Make it a long 20 or a short 21 yards to go. 2 minutes to go before the half. Officials are going to whistle this play dead. So the 2-minute warning stops the clock here in Husky Stadium. And the Chargers, trying to overcome a slew of penalties on this drive, are still tied up with Seattle, 3 apiece. Husky Stadium, stand-in home venue for the Seattle Seahawks, while a $38 million repair is underway at the nearby Kingdome. And with boats assembling outside the stadium on Lake Washington, we look forward to the Domino's Pizza halftime report. NFL Live studio in New York, Greg Gumbel and Mike Ditka standing by. 3-3 here. Third down long for the Chargers. Means with the football as Humphries dumped it off. He's down to the 21 before being knocked down by number 21 of Seattle, Raphael Robinson. We'll probably have a field goal attempt eventually coming up here for San Diego if they're unable to convert on 3rd and long upcoming. It'll be 3rd down 14.
Good call there. You want to get yourself in a position where you have a makeable yardage for the first down, and I guess really 3rd and 14 isn't makeable. But here what it does is it knocks up a couple of yards for what appears to be the inevitable field goal attempt unless they can stick this one in the end zone.
4 wide receivers on the field. A rare offensive ploy for San Diego. And Humphries has a man inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. It's number 33, Ronnie Harmon, who improvised a route and got loose deep in the Seattle secondary. Rufus Porter prevented the touchdown.
Well, let's give the offensive line credit. Look at all the time that Stan Humphries has to look and to look and to look. He's got at least 6 seconds here, and you're right. Ronnie Harmon comes right into view, runs across his face. He was able to get away with that one, throwing off the wrong foot. Good play by Humphries, and heads up on the part of Ronnie Harmon because he didn't get touched, and he jumps up. Now the Chargers in position to stick it in the end zone.
And just as I was teasing the possible field goal attempt, we get instead first down goal at the 3. Means diving, stacked up short of the goal line, clock running with 28 seconds, and the Chargers will now use their last timeout. Terry Wooden made the stop for Seattle.
This is going to make for an interesting decision-making process here, Jim, because here, where they are at the 1-yard line, if they run, and if for whatever reason they don't get it, then what's going to happen is that they would have to scramble back to the line of scrimmage. He would have to spike the ball and would set up a crucial 4th down. Here, I'm not sure that San Diego has a choice other than to go with a play-action pass, because if it's incomplete, of course, it stops the clock.
And as the Chargers discuss their offensive situation, on second down goal at the 1, 26 seconds left in the half, no timeouts, we turn our attention momentarily back to Seattle's offensive situation, where we've gotten word, Todd, that Chris Warren, the star tailback of the Seahawks, has a small chip fracture in his left elbow. They will pad the elbow, and in the second half, he's going to try to play. Why? Because his backup, John Vaughn, has been poked in the eye and cannot play again today. So in order for the Hawks to have a tailback available, Warren must try to play with a broken bone in his elbow. Now here come the Chargers once again. Second and goal from the 1, 26 seconds, no timeouts. Humphries gives to Means, and Means has the touchdown. Another big play for the second-year tailback out of North Carolina.
What a push once again by the right side of the offensive line. I don't mean to be redundant, but the combination of that offensive line and the lead block there by the Rocket, Steve Hendrickson, enabled the San Diego Chargers to get it in the end zone. That was just straight, as they say, smash mouth football. Hendrickson with a great lead block.
You talk about a utility player. Steve Hendrickson does everything imaginable at some time or another for San Diego.
Jim, when he was here, we had a graphic regarding Steve Hendrickson. Back in 1992, he played eight different positions on the football field.
Kind of a Cesar Tovar of the NFL. Carney now to convert out of Gilbert's hold. And he has a clean kick for a 10-3 San Diego lead in the closing seconds of the first half. That was a tough drive for San Diego, and they got it done.
Straight smash mouth football. Watch number 34. He's smart, stays right behind him. He pushes Robinson completely out of the way, and that enables Means to get it in. The charge is right there by that right side. Look at that. There are white shirts that are already in the end zone. That's dominance at the line of scrimmage, and right now the Chargers are in charge. Ronnie Harmon not very demonstrative. Jim, I make a point. In talking to the people, the San Diego Chargers and others around the league, they say that this is, along with Jerry Rice, the best work ethic of any athlete in the National Football League. That is high praise.
In the scoring drive, San Diego overcame 2 holding penalties and got it done. 11 plays, 51 yards, took 5 minutes, 52 seconds to complete. Paid off on Natrone Means' 1-yard touchdown run. Another look at Harmon.
I really like this guy. He is a man who is substance over style all the way. He's actually very uncomfortable when it comes to interviews or dealing with the media. In fact, in chatting with him, he told me something that I thought was very interesting. He said that I'm not a complete back. I said, what are you talking about? You're catching 70 balls. You're great. He has a career average of over 10 yards per catch, which for a running back, Jim, is absolutely outstanding. But he feels to be a complete back. He wants to play full time, which I find interesting, but that just shows the competitive nature of number 33.
Number 81, Michael Bates. Number 88, Terrence Warren. Both with premier speed. Deep to receive for Seattle. John Carney tried to kick it along the ground to keep it away from him. Bates picked it up finally, but goes nowhere and goes down at the 18-yard line. There'll be 15 seconds remaining in the half after Rodney Harrison got downfield to make the stop for San Diego.
Give some credit here, too, to the offensive staff of the San Diego Chargers there with 2 minutes left. Great job of managing the clock. A lot of cases after the catch or you get stopped at the 2-yard line, people start to panic and call timeouts before they need to. The Chargers did a great job of bleeding the clock down to the time right now, which for the Seattle Seahawks is hardly any to get the ball up the field.
And in the continued process of building Natrone Means' confidence as a franchise back, the San Diego offensive staff said to him with that call on 3rd and 1, you're the man. Or 2nd and 1, I should say.
No, that's
first down. Rick Meyer completes the pass to 43 Tracy Johnson, and Sean Van Horst makes the stop for San Diego. 7 seconds left on the clock as the Seahawks are able to pick up a first down and move it out across the 35.
Jim, I don't think that point can be understated simply because of the fact, not just the confidence factor, but the confidence factor in the offensive lineman as well. Because as we mentioned, if he doesn't get in the end zone, then they've got to sprint back, spike the ball, and more than likely on 4th down, what do? They have to go with the play action pass. They showed him the confidence, gave him the ball, and you're right. For a youngster, there's nothing like feeling like you are the man.
That's what the Chargers are trying to accomplish early this season for Means after having allowed Marion Butts to go away and make a place for Natrone Means to carry the football more than 20 times per game. 3 receivers on the field now for Seattle on what could be the last play of the first half. Kelvin Martin, Michael Bates, and Brian Blades all out there with Meyer. You see that the Seahawks have 2 timeouts and 7 seconds remaining. Football's at the 33.
This is a statistical thing, Jim, but if you notice how far back the San Diego Chargers are, this is an opportunity to get one of the garbage interceptions at the end of the half.
Down the middle to Blades, and Blades pads his pass-catching total. Hawks are able to stop the clock. Junior Seau made the stop for San Diego.
Now that gets them a little closer if they opt to make the big throw into the end zone.
Timeout. 40 seconds.
Pickup of about 11 yards.
Seems like a couple of years. When was the last time that you can think of that a Hail Mary came through? Remember Atlanta had a stretch where they had like 4 or 5 games in a season where a Hail Mary came through? Amazing.
Well, if you want to throw a Hail Mary, what better target than Michael Bates?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what's his vertical? I know his 200-meter time is 1990. What's his vertical jump? Does he have a 40-incher?
Don't know. Haven't asked. What do you think? You seen a 200-meter guy with a 40-inch vertical jump?
You know who does? Interesting. So, you know who surprised me who had a great vertical jump, and it was measured apparently at 40 inches, was Barry Sanders. Really? Isn't that something? At 5'8", 205, you wouldn't thought that physique would be
so
that
do you think Barry can dunk?
Oh, I'm sure he can.
Back to this game. Meyer out of the gun. 56 yards to go to get anything done here. Flag down. If it's against San Diego, Seattle may get yet another chance.
It was a hold, Jim. That'll end the half.
Sean Lee was the man who was chasing Meyer.
Number 75 offense. The half is over by rule.
Second holding call of the half against Howard Ballard, the Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. So there's the story. Halftime in Husky Stadium. Battle between the 2-0 Chargers and the 2-0 Seahawks. One of these teams leaves here no worse than tied for first in the AFC West. Chargers lead the Hawks 10-3 on Natrone Means' touchdown. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York, in which the Chargers took the lead at 10-3 on Natrone Means' touchdown just before halftime, Todd.
Clearly the stars of this game thus far has been the Charger defense. Take a look at the total yards. 54 yards, and most of that, Jim, in the initial drive of the game. Since that time, the Chargers have done an outstanding job shutting them down. Certainly, too, they have reversed the time of possession, which was in favor of the Seahawks early. Now, clearly the Chargers in charge.
Quarterback comparison between Stan Humphries and Rick Meyer. You see that Meyer is 6 for 13 for 48 yards. He's been sacked 3 times for big losses. Humphries 12 of 20 for 115, and he's now gone 131 throws without throwing an interception.
Very impressive, and as we mentioned early on, Humphries was having a hard time finding his receivers, but clearly he's warmed up now, and he's in the groove.
There's Humphries on the sideline. His team will have the football to begin the second half as John Casey gets ready to kick it away for Seattle. And waiting deep for San Diego is Tony Martin at the goal line. Martin, who threw an interception off a reverse pass in the first half, gets across the 25 to the 27-yard line. It'll be first down, 73 yards to go for a touchdown for the San Diego Chargers. Michael McCrary, reserve defensive end, was downfield to make the tackle on the kickoff for Seattle. Humphries came into this game without having thrown an INT, without having been sacked in 1994. And those streaks continue. So First down 10 for the Chargers from the 28-yard line. Jefferson in motion behind Humphries, and they're going to throw on first down. Looking down the middle, and it's complete underneath Deshaun Jefferson, and Jefferson will have first down yardage out near the 40 before he's brought down by Wooden and Porter for the Seahawks.
Again, great protection on the part of the Chargers. Jefferson in motion. He's going to run what's called a squat route. He just sits down in the middle of the coverage, squats down, catches the ball, and cuts up the field and gets the first down, even though he takes the blows from the Seahawks tacklers.
Efficient work from Humphries. You see Sean Jefferson going to the top of the screen on first down 10 at the 38-yard line. Give the football to Natrone Means, who had 50 yards rushing in the first half, and Means is brought down by Rod Stevens after a gain of 4.
You know, that's just that statistic surprises me, Jim, because he didn't have any spectacular runs. In fact, I think his longest run was 7 yards. Then all of a sudden you look and he's got 50 yards. Just like that, you think, oh, no big deal. They tackle him, and you look up and you go, wait a minute, it's 2nd and 5. The offensive line for the Chargers once again doing the job.
14 carries, 54 yards now for Means, who came into the game averaging over 100 yards rushing per game. 2nd down 6, Means again. Met after a gain of about 2. Seattle defense stiffening in the middle behind linebacker Rod Stevens.
Rod Stevens had the tackle last time as well. He's really earning his keep. He looks at the rate he's going, he'll have double-digit tackles by the end of this contest. Rufus Porter right there is an interesting story. You know what, Jim? Everybody gave all the attention to Dan Marino in coming back from an Achilles tendon injury. That man had the exact same thing. And if you figure, it was probably more difficult for Porter because he plays a position where his straight-ahead speed and maneuverability are much more significant than they are to Marino. So give that man number 97 some credit for his rehabilitation coming back from a serious injury.
3rd down 3. Ronnie Harmon and Tony Martin on the field for San Diego. Humphries rolls, looks for Jefferson in the flat, and has the first down across the 50 to the 47-yard line of Seattle. Terry Wooden making the stop for the Seahawks, along with rookie cornerback Orlando Waters, who continues to play in place of the now injured Carlton Gray.
And there he goes to that side again. Waters actually playing fairly well, but again, you know, how can you just step into the breach like this not expecting to play? It's not just a physical thing, Jim. Your mind is prepared to do certain things like play in nickel coverage or play on special teams. And now all of a sudden he's put into a situation that he's uncomfortable with.
The chess game favoring San Diego because of some key injuries to Seattle in the first half, particularly on offense, as we'll detail when the Hawks get the ball. On first down, Humphries throws to Tony Martin and has a pickup of about 6 before Martin is hit by Orlando Waters, and here we go again.
You know, Jim, it's funny. When we get to these talks with the quarterbacks before the game, we say, are you going to pick on so-and-so if somebody is hurt or they have a weak link in the secondary? And they always say, oh, no, not really, because, you know, we have our patterns. This is what we're going to do. Yeah, right. All of a sudden, Carlton Gray, who've been playing at a Pro Bowl level the first 2 games, is out. Waters is in. That's right where Humphrey goes.
Pickup of 6. It'll be 2nd down 4. Football is at the 41. They need to get it to the 37 for a first down. Means running behind the H-back Capuno. Big play by Cortez Kennedy, wrapping up Means from behind.
Well, Cortez Kennedy, this is what they're asking to do. In the 92 season, big numbers. Last year, not the case. And look, he fights off 2 blockers. First, it's Whitley, and then it's Kokozo. Can you believe the lateral speed there? Kokozo had the angle on him, and still Kennedy at 300+, able to run around him and make the tackle for a short gain.
1-yard gain for Means. It'll be 3rd down 3 now for San Diego. Ronnie Harmon again in the game on 3rd down. Jefferson in motion. Humphries has first down yardage down to the 35-yard line as Alfred Papunu makes the catch and drags Raphael Robinson for extra yardage.
And notice all the Chargers that come around to surround him and say, that's the way to go. Remember the Monday night game a couple of years ago, or more than a couple of years ago, Jim, when the San Francisco 49ers were playing the Giants? They hit Mark Bavaro over the middle, and Ronnie Lott jumped on his back and he carried him. Take a look at Papuno here. Robinson has him wrapped up, but look at the power of the 255-pounder, just making him move, making him come after him. Robinson going for the strip, but as a result cost himself 6 yards in field position.
So it's first down now at the 31 as San Diego closed out the half with a scoring drive, moves it on its first possession of the second half. Means with the carry and a pickup of only about a yard as he gets it perhaps just inside the 30-yard line. Rod Stevens again there along with Robert Blackman for Seattle.
We mentioned Cortez Kennedy earlier in the drive with his big tackle on second down. He was somebody that put together some outstanding numbers back in 1992 when he was Defensive Player of the Year. An amazing feat for somebody who was on a team that was 2-14. We'll get that graphically substantiated after this play.
So they drafted Texas A&M Sam Adams to try to take some pressure off of Kennedy. Adams got hurt in preseason and has not yet played. Humphreys, effective fake to Means. Finally unloads the football, but took too much time to do something with it. An incompletion as Stevens had the coverage on Papunu. Michael Sinclair was the man who was in the face of Humphreys and forced him to deliver.
Back in 1992, of those 92 tackles, 28 of them were for loss, which is an unbelievable statistic. You see in 93 that dropped. 92, amazing to have 14 sacks from the defensive tackle position. That dropped to 6, and of course a lot of that had to deal with the fact that he was double and triple teamed. As you mentioned, there's the man Sam Adams, first-round draft pick out of Texas A&M. He's supposed to be taking the pressure off him, but right now he has a knee injury.
Third down 9. Humphreys under pressure, throws, nobody there. Could have been a touchdown if one of those Seahawks had gotten to the ball. It was Orlando Waters, whose eyes were bulging as he got near the potential TD grab.
Well, the screen was designed to Ronnie Harmon, but he got grabbed or fell down. Number 33 is the man this is designed for. There you can see him right there, Michael Sinclair. Right there, he throws it way over the head of Harmon. But he was just throwing it away, and as you mentioned, Waters not quite quick enough to get the pick.
So with 9 minutes 42 seconds to go in the third quarter, John Carney will come on to attempt from 48 yards. You see the make from 36 yards. Again, Gail Gilbert taking over for John Kidd this week as the holder, and Carney just misses. San Diego scoring drive produces nothing to open the third. Seattle will try to tie it when we come back. Husky Stadium on the shores of Lake Washington in Seattle. Still decorated for the University of Washington Huskies, but now the interim home of the Seattle Seahawks while they wait for the Kingdome to be repaired. Seahawks start with the football after the missed field goal try out at the 39-yard line. Steve Smith gets the call on first down. Dennis Gibson makes the stop. Chris Warren is not in the game for the moment.
And that's a big problem, Jim. Steve Smith is certainly a competent fullback, but he certainly isn't going to replace Chris Warren in the running game. As you saw right there, his 235 pounds stuffed by Junior Seau in the hole. This is going to be a real problem, debilitating the running attack of the Seahawks if they can't get Warren back in there.
Warren went down with what we have been told is a fractured elbow in the first half. He was expected to pad it and try to play in the second half. We haven't seen him on the sideline. On second down long, Meyer throws the completion to Brian Blades. Dwayne Harper made the stop. Harper, former Seattle cornerback playing against his old teammates, drew 4 interference calls in the first half.
Yeah, but the bottom line here, Jim, is that it's still 10-3. The defense sucked it up and made up for those mistakes. And Harper still has been playing some good football. Don't forget the near interception on the out and up that he had near the end of the first half.
On third down 4, Tracy Johnson and Michael Bates in the game. Smith comes off. Meyer throws and completes for the first down to Kelvin Martin into San Diego territory at the 46. Again, working against Dwayne Harper.
Just as we mentioned that he was doing an outstanding job, Harper a little bit too far off on the deep out route. Good protection. They pick up Seau on the blitz. Meyer throws the ball out, and has been mentioned numerous times. That's the measure of a quarterback. If he can throw that deep out or deep comeback route, Meyer puts it on the money.
16-yard catch by Kelvin Martin. First down for Seattle. They put the football right at the 40. Blades in motion behind Meyer. Steve Smith with running room across the 35 to the 34. Flags down. Carrington made the stop for San Diego. Initial indication is that it's against the Chargers.
Debate here is if they want the extra
Offside,
yard.
number 92, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
They wanted it down. Right behind Tom Flores there is Larry Kenna with the white cap. A lot of pressure is put on him now because if indeed Chris Warren does not come back, and it appears that he's not going to, he really has to alter a lot of what he wanted to do. Clearly, you would have anticipated that they would have been running the ball 20 to 25 times to Warren. Now he has to go to plan B, so to speak, with some of the short passes we've seen.
On second down, Smith again gets the call, and Reuben Davis has an easy wrap-up from his defensive tackle position for San Diego.
Well, that's the quickness factor. Clearly, Steve Smith does not have the moves of his nickname, Old Smooth, is who they refer to as Chris Warren. Again, he is somebody who is more effective blocking and catching short passes out of the backfield. He's not the man that can bear the brunt of the running attack.
So after the penalty had made it first down 5, it's now second down 5. And Meyer's pass is complete. They're going to have to go to a finesse passing game, and Meyer for the moment is working it well. Kelvin Martin again in front of Dwayne Harper.
Dwayne Harper really wasn't in that bad of coverage, but Meyer put the ball right on the money, and Martin able to come up with a 6-yard catch and able to get another first down. You know, the argument here with regards to Meyer is that because of the effectiveness of Warren and the defense, that they're saying that he doesn't necessarily have to win the games, just not lose them. Jim, a little bit different today with Warren out. He's going to have to win this game for him.
Ball Green in motion behind Meyer, who gets away from Fisher and throws it picked off.
That's it. There's nobody there.
Stanley Richard, the sheriff, who had a lengthy interception return for a touchdown in the opening game of the season, has another one today.
Youthful mistake, Jim. Junior Seau comes in, take the sack. Don't just throw it if you don't know where it's going. You should have taken the sack.
74-yard touchdown return for Stanley Richard. A free safety, in order to be great in this league, has to take advantage of these opportunities, and the sheriff does.
And number 55 is the one that creates it. He's the one that makes him throw off balance, throwing behind Green, and there's nobody there. Long gone. Second long interception return for Stanley Richard, who had a 99-yarder against the Denver Broncos early. He certainly is the sheriff, and pretty decent hops for a free safety.
6 minutes, 28 seconds to go in the third period, and just like that, with Carney's kick, the Chargers avert the Seattle scoring threat, turn it into a touchdown of their own, lead 17-3. Husky Stadium, Todd Christensen, you told us Rick Meyer now with responsibility of trying to win the game for Seattle. The inverse is, in that position, he can lose it too. And
Junior Seau getting a giant assist in terms of that interception, and that's what he says right there to Stanley Richard. Great pick, partner. You get the goal, but feel free to give me an assist.
Officially, a 73-yard interception return for a touchdown for Stanley Richard. His second TD interception return of the season. The kick by Carney is taken by Michael Bates inside the 10. One of the league's fastest players. And Bates gets across the 35 to the 36-yard line on a dangerous kick return. Sean Van Horst downfield to make the stop for San Diego. Good field position for the Seahawks as they take over, and Chris Warren may be coming back. Along the sideline in Husky Stadium, Chris Warren, starting tailback for the Seattle Seahawks, and you see the padding on the left elbow. There is a bone chip floating in there now as Warren fractured the left elbow in the first half, but with the padding, he's hoping to play in the second half. Problem, Todd, they're down 17-3 now. Meyer throws underneath, complete to Kelvin Martin. Martin across the 40 to about the 43. Dwayne Harper makes the stop for San Diego, and Chris Warren comes back onto the field.
Well, that is a good point, Jim. They're down 2 touchdowns. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Yes, they can certainly still run the ball, but they can't afford the luxury anymore of exclusively running it. Meyer is still going to have to step up and make his throws.
Pickup of 9 on first down. Meyer to Kelvin Martin. Tight shot of Warren as they get ready to go on 2nd and 1. And here's Chris's first carry with the broken elbow, and he breaks the tackle and leans forward for a gain of about 3, and he'll move the chains with that one. Stanley Richard applies the finishing stop, and Warren has a couple of words for Leslie O'Neal.
Well, that's interesting. He comes back in after sitting out the first half. Leslie O'Neal's been around the block. He knows how to psych him out a little bit. Hey, does that elbow hurt? Is that going to be a problem holding on to the ball, Chris?
Leslie says right that would be the left elbow, right, Chris?
That's right. And take a look. Did you notice Reuben Davis right off the bat goes right for the ball to see if he can hold on? Can you hold on? Are you okay? You okay out there? That's what he's saying.
1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Meyer, who moments ago suffered his first interception of the year, almost throws the second. And gets a flag instead.
Now he's going after the football. I don't like this if this is pass interference. He's definitely going after the football. Plus he's got a claim that it was tipped. Interesting call here.
Darian Gordon is the defensive back in question. Brian Blades the intended receiver. Mark Bright helping with the interpretation as his crew sorts things out.
Pass interference, number 29 defense.
29.
First down with the spot of the
Well, he means number 21. He means Gordon. Take a look. Let's see right here. Now the ball comes up. Let's see. Is he going for the football? Clearly he's going for the football. There he sees the left hand on the back, but I think you got to let that go. You just do.
So they corrected the call to make sure that spectators here knew that the man in question was number 21, Darian Gordon. Number 1 pick. Coming out of Stanford a year ago, must step up in man-to-man coverage for the Chargers to have a great year on defense. Meyer may have gulled him a little bit with the cadence there.
I'm not so sure. I think they're going to call that on San Diego.
Sean Lee.
Encroachment foul, number 98 defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jim, you're right. You can see by the reaction of Lee, he can't believe that he didn't get the idea that the cadence and the way he bobbed his head might have drawn him off. Let's take a close look here at the line of scrimmage. Seau jumps up. He might be a little bit offside. Seau really is the one that caused Lee to jump off sides. He felt the movement. Instinctively, he reacts. Good call by the official.
Lee thinking, hey, if Junior's ready to go, I'd better be ready to go too.
That's right.
He's supposed to be the best defensive player in the conference. On first down 5. The give is to Chris Warren, and Warren tries his hand with the football, playing with the broken elbow, gets a gain of about 3. Seau makes the stop for the Chargers.
I could be wrong, but it seems like he might be running just a little bit tentative. When you start to spin in the hole, that's because you're not taking on the tacklers. Certainly he has to be cognizant of the pain in his elbow. But there was a situation where he was just a little bit tippy-toe-ish.
One of a small handful of backs to come into this year with 2 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing years. Second down 2 after the gain of 3 by Warren. Warren again. Plenty of running room this time across the 35 to the 34. Another Seahawks first down. David Griggs, number 92, made the stop from outside linebacker for San Diego.
This is really a good job by Tom Flores and Larry Kennan in not panicking. Yes, they're down 2 touchdowns, but with over 19 minutes left to go in the game, they can still do this. They can still run the ball up the field. The big issue here is that if indeed they do get it in the end zone at the end of this drive, what can the Seattle defense do with San Diego's offense?
6-yard pickup for Warren. First down from the 34. Meyer looking for Blades.
That's a fit. Unbelievable.
Dwayne Harper with his 5th interference call of the day.
Unbelievable.
Twelfth penalty against San Diego.
Now Dwayne Harper has to be careful not to get himself tossed. You can ill afford to lose cornerbacks in a game like this. Your cornerbacks are so valuable.
There was no interference on the play. The defender got the ball before the man. No interference. Second down.
So Mark Wright peels off that potential 5th interference call against Harper, and Harper says, yeah.
Now, we've witnessed a rarity, Jim. How many times do you get a cornerback or a defensive back who's able to get away with that? There it is. It's simultaneous. And, of course, if you're Harper, you have to be a little bit paranoid where the officials are concerned. How many times do you see him go over and scream and get away with it and get it overturned? But he did. Amazing.
Up fake from Meyer, looking deep for Kelvin Martin. And the coverage downfield by Dwayne Harper. They just will not let up on Harper. Check it. It was Darren Carrington who was running with Martin at the goal line.
One of the issues here, Jim, with regards to cornerbacks is to say, okay, we understand the bump rule, but I've got to play the way I've always been playing and see if I can get away with it. Clearly, in the case of Harper, that hasn't happened. You can see right there, he pulls a little bit on the outside of Martin and gets away with it. That time Harper get away with it? Obviously, 4 times today, he hasn't.
So let me correct again. It was not Carrington. It was Harper. The Seattle offensive staff clearly trying to get inside the head of former Seahawk Dwayne Harper. Meyer gets away from the first man, but then goes down and is sacked for the 4th time today.
Here comes the blitz. Watch Junior Seau come up the middle. He occupies the blocker that enables Van Horst to rush from his nickel position. And even though he doesn't get the sack, that's enough to slow him down. Watch Junior Seau come in and occupy the blocker. He's the one that takes Blackshear out of the play, enabling Van Horst to get to Meyer. And as a result, he's got no place to go.
And then Seau is in to help out on the sack, along with number 25, Van Horst. So on 4th down, Seattle elects to punt. Tootin trying to get it inside the 10-yard line, and he does. Darian Gordon making the fair catch at the 9. So the Seahawks will have San Diego pinned at the 9, but they trail 17-3 when we come back.
One of the big arguments in the offseason for San Diego was the loss of Anthony Miller to free agency. Did they make the right decision? The claim was that he was a bad guy in the clubhouse and he was self-serving. But this is what I think. 84 catches, 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Players like that don't grow on trees. I think that San Diego should have kept Anthony Miller.
Now that puts you directly in disagreement with San Francisco 49er linebacker Gary Plummer, who was widely quoted this past week to the effect that Miller was not a team player. But there are the numbers that bolster your point, Todd.
Well, the point is that Anthony Miller, the other 4 receivers that we're talking about that are on the San Diego roster right now, combined for those numbers of only 60. Thus far, in fairness to them, however, they have been fairly successful in the first 2 weeks of the season. But a talent like Anthony Miller just doesn't come along all the time. Witness what the Los Angeles Raiders did with Tim Brown. I felt like the Chargers should have done the same thing with regards to Miller.
In the 3rd quarter, Seattle begins to stiffen against the running game. Eric Bieniemy got the call on 1st down for San Diego and got no yardage before Blackman and Stevens made the stop for the Seahawks. It'll be 2nd down 10 from the 9-yard line. And just one further follow-up. One of the men picking up the slack for Anthony Miller, Mark Say, has 2 drops and no catches today for San Diego. Cortez Kennedy almost got the safety, and now they do get the sack, but where are they going to mark the ball?
They're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. I saw the hat come down. He came in and threw the hat down at the 1-yard line. First sack this season by a team against the San Diego Chargers. The fans here, of course, are appreciative of the great defense of the Seahawks, particularly over the last 3 seasons. They wanted a safety, always a coup for the defense, but the officials say no.
It was Brett Williams who finally got credited for the sack. It was Tez who created the havoc.
Take a look at where his feet are when he finally does get sacked. His feet right there where he grabs him are on the 1-yard line. Good job by the official with the placement, throwing the hat down. The official's right on top of it. Cortez Kennedy initially is the one that gets in his face, quickly pushes him back. Williams gets the sack. There you saw the hat coming down right there. Good job.
3rd down 18. Humphrey's gonna throw. Looking deep down the middle, and we could have a 99-yarder if he can go. It is Tony Martin with the football. Inside the 20, inside the 10, and he has gone 99 yards, beating Patrick Hunter for the last 45 yards and that touchdown.
And that is, of course, the NFL record, matching a number of people who have done that, including Ron Jaworski to Mike Quick, George Izzo, Jim Plunkett to Cliff Branch. It can't be any longer than this, a 99-yarder, and Humphrey stood in there, slides to the left, puts it right on the money to Tony Martin, who said, if afforded the opportunity now out of Miami, I can be as good as Jerry Rice. Well, for one play, he was.
Man coverage by Patrick Hunter on the 3rd down, 18-yard play, and Humphreys found Tony Martin, led him perfectly. They get the 99-yard touch.
Inside right there, they switch a little bit. There he is. Nice out move right there. That's what he bought on. Hunter bought on the out move, and you just cannot throw the ball any better than that. Martin trying to use the whole field. Hunter trying to get there the last. There he pulls his hamstring. You saw him grab his left leg. That's why he's on the field right now. Martin in the record books.
And the Seahawks, who have already lost cornerback Carlton Gray today with a strained knee, can ill afford to lose the other starting corner, Patrick Hunter, but he looks as though he has a significant injury.
I have to bring up a point of historical reference for our buddy Ahmad Rashad, who's in the studio. when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals. He caught a pass from Jim Hart and went 98 yards from the 1-yard line, knocked out at the 1. He has the longest non-scoring catch in the history of the National Football League. Martin, deciding not to share with that, gets it in the end zone.
Well, tell me this, with 45 yards to go, who was your favorite in that foot race? Hunter coming from behind or Martin to stay ahead of him?
As best as I could tell, it looked to me like Hunter was going to catch him until he pulled his hamstring at the 20. Take a look. Right there, he pulls his hamstring at the 20 just as he was closing in. You see him grabbing there, clearly in pain. It looked to me like he was about to run him down at the 15. But I guess in the case of Martin, destiny called for a 99-yarder.
Any chance that's a cramp instead of a pulled ham?
Absolutely not. You saw when he reached back and grabbed that left hamstring and the way he's walking off now.
So the Seahawks, who have already been living with free agent rookie Orlando Waters in the game every down at one corner, are now going to have to move Raphael Robinson to another corner from his normal strong safety position. And San Diego, one play after having been treated to Stan Humphrey's first sack of the season by Brent Williams of the Seahawks, retaliates with a 99-yard touchdown pass. It's 24-3. 1:55 to go in the third quarter. Crowd in Husky Stadium still stunned by the lightning strike of the San Diego Chargers. Michael Bates takes the kick off the foot of John Carney, gets it back to about the 28-yard line. Moments ago, you saw an NFL record-tying 99-yard touchdown pass from Stan Humphries to Tony Martin. When was it last done, Todd?
This is done against the Atlanta Falcons, 1985. Check out Ron Jaworski. The slant route to Mike Quick. Cuts across, breaks the defenders. He's gone. 70 yards. There's nobody there. He goes the distance. 23-17. Overtime victory over the Falcons in that one. He's waving goodbye, but hello to the record book.
That made Quick the 6th man in NFL history to receive a 99-yard touchdown pass, and now Tony Martin becomes the 7th. Gutty call by the San Diego staff, throwing out of their end zone. On first down now for the Seahawks, trailing 24-3. Chris Warren gets it across the 30 to about the 34-yard line, and pick up a 5, and a player is down for San Diego. It's number 94, Chris Mims. And as the San Diego training staff looks at Mims, we check in with Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Jim, and in Denver, Leonard Russell, his second touchdown of the day. He fumbled to set up a Raider touchdown earlier. He scores from 4 yards out, set up by a pass interference call. It is 38-16. The Raiders lead over the Broncos. Jim and Todd.
All right, so the Broncos trying to come back from now 22 points down against the Los Angeles Raiders, and you see that the Seahawks are 21 points down to San Diego, 1:37 still to go in the third.
Do you buy the idea, Jim, that this game is pivotal for the job security of either man, Art Shell or Wade Phillips? What do you think?
I think it's a little bit early in the season for that, although the way the Raiders played in the first 2 games, there were media types in Los Angeles who began to call Shell into question. But let's face it, 3 weeks ago, he was being seen as a guy who had proven himself as an NFL head coach. There goes Patrick Hunter. So the Seahawks have lost both starting corners to injury now in the game. Lost both tailbacks, the starter and the backup. Brought the starter back, though he's playing with a broken left elbow.
Got to tell you an interesting story with regards to Hunter. I was fortunate enough to be in a game when one of the records happened. It was Jim Plunkett to Cliff Branch, 99 yards for a touchdown. But the interesting part about that story, Jim, Cliff Branch caught the ball at the 40. He pulled his hamstring at the 50-yard line. This is in September of 1983, as I recall.
And went the last 50 with a pulled ham.
And went the last 50 with a pulled hamstring to complete the 99-yarder. You see right there, Hunter grabbing his leg. Martin has to be ecstatic. You know what? Players all the time, and you've had this experience, Jim. You talk with these guys. You ask about statistics and records. They always say things like, "Oh, it's no big deal." Hey, come on. If you're going to be in the record book for all time like Martin is, he has to be thrilled.
Rick Meyer gets away from pressure and comes out of the pocket for Seattle. And Meyer, who has been advised to do this by Coach Tom Flores, gets to the turf prior to contact. It'll be third down.
Leslie O'Neal with the rush. Gets to the outside. Once again, has Meyer in his sights. He steps up and avoids the rush. Has to decide, now, am I going to slide? I fall down. What do I do? Oh, well, okay, I'll do that instead. Leans the ball forward.
Good play by Meyer to get down before Van Horst could have a free shot at him. Less than a minute to go in the third quarter. Third down, 3 yards to go for a Seattle first down. And Again, pressure on Meyer, and he is sacked for the 5th time today.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that is the 3rd sack for Leslie O'Neal, Jim. Really doing a job out here. But that's crazy. Look, they have Paul Green, the tight end, on him. There's no way Paul Green can block Leslie O'Neal.
O'Neal and Sean Lee both there. Maybe they'll share it. Maybe they'll give full credit to O'Neal because he was the man who got there first and had the legs of Meyer. Tootin here to kick it away. When last Tootin came on to punt, he did a good job pinning the Chargers inside the 10-yard line at the 9. Then they sacked Humphreys at the 1. Then he threw the 99-yard touchdown pass to Tony Martin. Darian Gordon deep to receive for San Diego. Gordon is standing at his 28.
Good kick.
Excellent kick from Tootin. Gordon at the 18-yard line. Gets away from the second man. Almost got to the open field, but a good tackle by number 88, Terrence Warren. And we remind you, NBC Sunday excitement does not stop with the NFL. Tonight is the exciting 2-hour season premiere of Sequest with Roy Scheider. That's Sequest tonight at 9 Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, right here on NBC.
Roy Scheider, all that jazz. He's terrific, wasn't he?
Still is. Third quarter coming to a close now. 8 seconds left on the clock. This could be the last play of the quarter. I know you think he's terrific and all that stuff.
Yeah, I do. I mean, of course he's still terrific. I meant that show. Come on, 52 pickup. Come on, he did a few others. Jaws.
The give is to Natrone Means on first down, and the Chargers will watch the clock run out now. So at the end of 3 periods, and after an explosive third quarter with a long touchdown pass and an interception return, Chargers lead 24-3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Jim Lampley and Todd Christensen with you from Husky Stadium in Seattle. In the third quarter, San Diego got a 73-yard interception return for a touchdown from Stanley Richard and a 99-yard touchdown pass from Stan Humphreys to Tony Martin. So the Chargers broke open a 10-3 game and lead 24-3. Natrone Means, his 20th carry of the game, is stopped by Cortez Kennedy. After a short pickup, it'll be third down now for the Chargers.
The fact that Natrone Means did not go down would seem to indicate there's a little fatigue on the part of the defense for the Seattle Seahawks and certainly a little bit of depression. The Chargers have come in here, and you know what, to be honest, Jim, I thought that they were not playing as well as Seattle. I thought they were very fortunate in their first 2 games, had some things go their way. Really, Cincinnati played very well against them, but they've been dominant for 3 quarters today.
20 carries for 66 yards for Means. On third down and short yardage, Humphreys throws to Ronnie Harmon. Terry Wooden makes the stop, but Harmon, who plays with the chains as well as any back in football, knew where to put the ball to get a first down.
Don't forget that in the first 2 games, Ronnie Harmon only caught 3 balls. He was not an integral part of the offense, but as Bobby Ross pointed out, because he's on the field, oft times he draws double, sometimes even triple coverage. Today, he's had some big catches.
3 catches for 30 yards for Harmon today. They make it 4 catches for 34. And I think 3 of the 4 have given them first downs, including the clutch catch on 3rd and 14 near the end of the first half that set up Means' touchdown, the first touchdown of the game. Means' 21st carry on first down gives him a gain of about 4 before Nash and Stevens make the stop for Seattle. Joe Nash, the only player in the National Football League whose throwback jersey today is identical to a jersey that he wore at an earlier stage of his career.
He was a rookie in 1982. That's absolutely right. I mean, that's something that's something to brag about. And he's so old, check this out, to use the old Johnny Carson bit. He's so old that you know you've been in the league a long time when teammates are asking to date your daughter. That's pretty good.
I'd say that's an indicator. As litmus tests go, that's a pretty good one. Second down 7. They credit Means with 3 yards on first down. Now got 21 carries for 69 yards. Loose football. Number 94, Rod Stevens, with the recovery for Seattle.
Well, one thing we hadn't pointed out, Jim, is the fact that with Courtney Hall out, inevitably it's a bad snap situation with a new center. It didn't happen for 2 quarters. Now all of a sudden at a very inopportune time, bad snap. Take a look. There he is. He's looking up. He wants to know what the snap count is. He appears to be a little bit confused, looking around a little bit late on the snap. You could see that Humphries stepped back. The snap was a little bit late, and that's the reason for the fumble.
Backup center Curtis Whitley, who made some terrific blocks in the first drive after replacing Hall in the first half, that time fails to connect with Humphries. So the Seahawks have a little bit of a break and maybe some life. With first down at the 36-yard line of San Diego. Meyer gives to Chris Warren, and Warren on the little shovel pass tries to get inside.
Major military decision. It also represents a dramatic change in his foreign policy. All the while, he is
deep regret.
Well, of course, he's asking advice from a guy who could certainly give it to him. There's Courtney Hall trying to explain to him what the situation is and what it was he was trying to do with that audible. I mean, that's really a lot to ask, in fairness to Whitley, a guy who just comes into the game. He audibles the time, the sequence, his rhythm is completely off, and that's the reason for the fumble.
4-yard pickup on the pass from Meyer to Warren on first down on 2nd and 6. Warren with a big hole inside, pushes forward for a first down inside the 25 to the 24.
Well, clearly the Seattle Seahawks still feel like they're in this game, Jim, because I'm thinking that if my star running back has a chipped elbow and we're down 3 touchdowns, but if this is a situation where you want to preserve him, then you take him out of the game. But Tom Flory still feels like they have a chance, and they leave Warren in there, and he gets the first down.
Warren, of course, for the moment, the only healthy tailback on the Seattle roster. They also lost his backup, John Vaughn, earlier in the game. Warren again. Good play by the left side of the San Diego defensive line this time. David Griggs, the linebacker, coming up to get credit for the tackle.
Well, in that situation, clearly San Diego's waiting for it. Problem here is even if they are running effectively, that works on the clock, and now with about 11.5 minutes left, it's imperative that Seattle get the ball in the end zone here fairly soon.
Rick Meyer has thrown 1 interception this year. Came in the 3rd quarter, and Stanley Richard took it back 73 yards for the touchdown that made it 17 3 charges and gave him a little breathing room. Moments later, they hit with the 99-yard touchdown pass. 2nd down 10 for Seattle. Meyer throws to Brian Blades, a pickup of only about 4. And Darian Gordon makes the stop for San Diego.
Watch number 21. If he's just a half step quicker, he had a shot maybe to pick this one off. Take a look at that. He arrived at the same time as the ball. That's a great catch by Blades, even if it was for short yardage. Interesting decision here, Jim. Clearly at this point in the game, down by 3 touchdowns, this is 4-down territory. So they don't necessarily have to throw the 10 to 15-yard ball here. They can get 5 or 6 yards and come up with a makeable 4th down.
They got 3 on Blades' 5th catch of the game. They've gone for only 35 yards. Meyer rolls away from the pressure and almost throws an interception. Kelvin Martin, the intended receiver. Darian Gordon, good job of coverage on Martin.
Junior Seau, number 55, is really creating some havoc. Look at the right of your screen. He tries to cut to the inside, now spins out. Watch 55. He stays to the screen. Look how quick he pursues Meyer, puts the pressure on. Gordon is able to come over and make the play. He has really caused some problems in the middle with his blitzing, and usually, Jim, the middle linebacker is not the guy you blitz too terribly often, usually just to occupy the guard, but he has done an outstanding job today creating a lot of problems for the Seahawks.
And the good news if you're a San Diego fan is that number 94, Chris Mims, who went off with a banged leg a couple of minutes ago, is back in the football game. On 4th down, Meyer throws and completes for a first down to Blades. Inside the 15, down to the 12-yard line. Big play, Meyer to Blades, Carrington on the stop.
That's the veteran receiver right there. They came with the blitz. He has blitz pickup and knowing where it is he has to be, but he took that extra step. Normally this is about a 4-yard route, but he knew they needed the first down, knew he was going to take the punishment on the hook route, which he did, but his feet were beyond the first down marker. Good job by Blades.
So now it will be first down with the football just outside the 11. They can make a first down at the 1. Timeout, San Diego. 9:54 to go in the football game. Chargers protecting a 24-3 lead. Have used their first timeout of the 2nd half, and we'll be back in Husky Stadium. As we bring it back to Husky Stadium, and you have a tight shot of Junior Seau, the Seattle Seahawks have first down, 10 yards to go just outside the 10-yard line, and Chris Warren goes for a touchdown. First TD of the day for the Hawks. It was a long time coming. 11 yards out for Warren.
Well, Junior Seau giveth and Junior Seau taketh away. Junior opted for the blitz. He came right up the middle, but what he did is he vacated the spot where Chris Warren was running, and that enabled Warren to go relatively untouched into the end zone.
So Casey will come on to try to add the extra point for the Seahawks, who elect not to go for 2 here. If they score 3 touchdowns somewhere along the way, they'll be looking to go for 2 unless Tom Flores is content to try to tie the game. Casey nails the extra point. It's 24-10, 9:49 still to go, and the Seahawks now functionally back in the game, though still 2 touchdowns down. There's a look at Chris Warren along the sideline for Seattle, playing with a chipped elbow. Warren just scored from 11 yards out to cap off a drive set up by a fumble recovery, and the Seahawks at 24-10 down are back in it. Ronnie Harmon takes the short kickoff, and Harmon finds running room across the 30 to the 33-yard line before Gene Wells made the stop for Seattle.
Junior Seau, as we mentioned, has been active, but in this case a little too active. He comes up, takes away a gap, but all Bill Hitchcock has to do is push him to the right, and there's a big gap that Warren is able to take advantage of and going for the touchdown. The reaction of the center, Whitley, who is the one who had the fumble. Well, here it is. Not a happy man.
Curtis Whitley, backed up center, playing for the injured Courtney Hall. His bad snap to Stan Humphries gave the football to the Seahawks at the 35. Meyer and company capitalized for their first TD of the day. Natrone Means trying to run the clock a little bit for San Diego. Goes on first down into the arms of Brent Williams for a pickup of about 3. It'll be 2nd down 7.
A lot of pressure now on the Seattle defense. It's important here to get a 3 and out so they can let their offense operate, because time now at 9:20 and counting is a factor. You're right, San Diego's going to work on it, but I think San Diego here also has to be careful, Jim, not to become too conservative to negate the effectiveness of their offense.
All eyes on number 20 for the Chargers. And no doubt somewhere in the back of his mind, Rusty Tillman of Seattle thinks, watch for play action. Means has another 4-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and about 3. Rod Stevens and Terry Wooden there to make the stop, and here comes to this moment the biggest play of the day for the Seattle defense.
Rusty Tillman right now with the big wristbands. This is a big decision here with regards to 3rd and 4, because what's going to happen is he going to go with the blitz here? Is he going to go with the conservative defense? Does he want to come with some extra people, put some pressure on Humphries, or does he think they're going to run? This is where the chess match gets interesting, and the decisions are difficult for the defensive coordinator here at 3rd and 4.
3rd down, a short 4, a long 3. Ronnie Harmon on the field as the Chargers go to their 3rd down package.
Who else?
There's Harmon, and he's past the chain. Almost out to the 50 before Orlando Waters made the stop. Another clutch play from the best 3rd down back in the league.
Ronnie Harmon makes a terrific out move and cuts across the face. Watch to the left of your screen, number 33. He's going to come into your picture after juking the linebacker, thinking he's going to run it out, all by his lonesome over the middle. We mentioned earlier that Ronnie Harmon had not been terribly effective in the first 2 weeks of the season. Clearly today, he has been the clutch 3rd down man that he has been in the past.
5th catch of the day for Harmon. Again, he moves the chain and, more importantly, keeps the clock moving. Dave McCluen on, Orlando Waters off. Now for Seattle. Means on 1st down has a lot of yardage. Almost 10 before McCluen made the stop.
We mentioned earlier in the first half how effective the right side of the offensive line had been. This play took a long time to develop, which shows that the offensive line is doing that much more in terms of being effective. Stringing the play out should be an advantage for the defense, but Means is able to stay behind his guys, jump over, nearly get 10 yards. Great job by Whitley, Malinchik, Brock, and Young.
Means came in averaging more than 100 yards a game. He's got 24 carries for 85 yards today. 2nd down, half yard for the 1st down. And Natrone uses his 237 pounds of weight against defensive tackle Joe Nash to press forward for the 1st down.
Now you mentioned that weight. There's significance to that, Jim. Last year he played at 245 and seemed to be winded, was not able to do the things that they wanted him to do. He split time with Butts as a result. He would come in after Butts had been beating people up. You see there running off the field. They asked him to come back a little bit lighter, so he dropped 8 pounds and went down to 237, and they feel he's much more effective at that weight.
First down, 10 yards to go. Second first down of the drive for San Diego. And 6:17 now remaining in the game. Clock running. Bieniemy out of bounds after a gain of about 4. McLuhan and Blackman run him out for Seattle.
Yeah, run him out is right. That was a long ways out of bounds. A young runner there in this particular situation. Bieniemy clearly is not getting many opportunities, so he wants to show what he can do. But in that situation, Jim, he's got to fall down before he gets out of bounds to keep the clock running.
Instead, Seattle's able to stop it by running Bieniemy out of bounds. Pick up a 4. It'll be second down 6. Ball is marked directly at the 35. They need to get it just inside the 30 for a first down. So it's a short 6. This time, Bieniemy is caught behind the line of scrimmage by Cortez Kennedy. And one thing Kennedy has proven in his career here in Seattle, they can be down 2 touchdowns. They can be down 6 touchdowns. He still plays every play as though it's the Super Bowl.
I had a game 2 years ago, Jim, in the Coliseum when they were down 24-0, and he was still fighting through double teams. That day he had like 11 tackles and 2 sacks. It didn't matter to him what the score was. You're absolutely right. He continues to do what he does best.
Third down 6. Another opportunity for the Seahawks to put the clamps on San Diego and try to get the football back. Humphries elects not to release it and is wrapped up by Joe Nash. Second sack for the Seahawks against Humphries, who had not been sacked at all coming into the game. Big play by Nash, forces fourth down.
Here's a classic case of the coverage sack. He looks downfield. It's not a lot of pressure. He steps up here, decides to take off with it. Nash, as we mentioned earlier, is the one who makes the tackle, forcing the Chargers to punt.
And a coverage sack for the patched up Seattle secondary. Remember, they've lost starting corners Patrick Hunter and Carlton Gray.
Even though this drive is stopped, they're going to have to punt. They did the very thing that they wanted to do here, Jim, and that is they took an awful lot of time off the clock. They'll be content here to take a delay penalty or say call a timeout with 1 second left. Now they're going to take the delay.
Now let the clock run down to 4 minutes 29 seconds remaining in the game, and take, as you point out, Todd, the delay penalty. And that will get in front of Brian Wagner a little more room to work with.
5-yard penalty, fourth down.
You know, you mentioned
Sorry,
that.
Terry.
I got to tell you a story. I was in New York chatting with Sean Landetta, and he talked about how everybody always does that, you know, about taking the 5 yards and kicking. He said, look, it's like shooting baskets. He says, aren't I better at 15 feet than I am from 20 feet in terms of shooting baskets? He says, I want it as close as possible.
Wagner, whose first kick of the day was for 51 yards. The second one is a placement kick. Fair caught by Martin at the 12-yard line. Seahawks will have 88 yards to go when we come back. 4 minutes, 21 seconds to go in Husky Stadium. Announced crowd of more than 65,000 today in the interim home of the Seattle Seahawks while they wait for the Kingdome to be repaired. Not a terribly happy crowd, as for the moment, the Hawks trail San Diego 24-10 with 4 minutes, 21 seconds to go in the game. Now Rick Meyer will operate out of the gun with 88 yards between his team and the goal line. And he throws underneath, complete to number 87, Paul Green. And the football is being brought back by Stanley Richard, who thinks he may have another touchdown.
Well, really, what's kind of foolish about that is a little bit of hot dogging. The clock would be running right now. Now it is again. But at the time, because he ran into the end zone with the ball, that stopped the clock.
By contact, second down.
Jerry Markwright has been busy today. He's been earning his keep, Jim.
Gain of 6 on first down. On second down, Chris Warren is unable to reach down far enough to get the low pass from Meyer. Sean Van Horst was there on the coverage. No doubt, Todd, you read the big interview with Jerry Markwright in Nickelodeon magazine, where he said that his biggest problem at home is that his wife doesn't always allow him to be the boss, and being a referee, he's very bossy. Total yards.
Well, I'll tell you who the bossy one is today. That clearly shows them. That's San Diego. More than 2-1 in total yardage. The defense for the Chargers has been outstanding.
140 yards altogether. Meyer throws complete to Kelvin Martin. Marion Gordon there on the coverage. Gordon giving a little bit of cushion, as the key here is not to get beat by the deep ball.
There's the right foot and there's the left. Good job by Martin keeping his feet in bounds. And as you mentioned, Gordon content to let that stay in front of him as long as the clock runs.
He's a pro. From the 27, Meyer looking deep and throwing into double coverage, and Kelvin Martin was unable to get to the football. Darian Gordon and Darren Carrington there. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Jim, in Denver, it has happened again. John Elway back to throw. The tip ball will be picked off by Terry McDaniel, the third time in 3 weeks. An interception's been returned against the Broncos, and John Elway for a touchdown. 48-16, Raiders in a runaway, Jim.
All right, Greg, so not only do the Broncos defenders not defend too well, but their offensive players don't defend terribly well after an interception.
Now here's an interesting point, Jim. Everybody was talking about Hostetler Zubbo and the problems he had been having.
A second chance catch by Michael Bates. And it was Dwayne Harper who was almost off to the races for another interception.
And you would have thought that would have been some poetic justice for Harper. Great anticipation right in front of Bates. Almost overran it. Harper thinking that he could have strode into the end zone and really styled in front of the Seahawk crowd, but it wasn't to be.
Meyer throws, complete to Paul Green underneath. Green has a short game, and the official steps onto the field to say, don't be fooled by Green's little step out of bounds. Make that clock run. Sean Van Horst on the coverage.
Jim, the point I was about to make with regards to Hostetler, he has thrown today for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So if indeed he does have an elbow problem, it is a minimal one.
It was a short-lived elbow problem.
Yeah.
Second down, 7. Warren got away from one tackler, but then it was wrapped up by the next 2. Crowd says, why are you running the football? We're down 24-10. 2:30 to go. Seahawks use a timeout. And it's 24-10 San Diego. We'll be back right after this.
Leo O'Neal is having an outstanding game. Take a look at the double team. First Green and then Roberts. He gets past it. Almost gets a tackle for loss. Creates the problems there for Warren. Key matchup today clearly has been Leslie O'Neal versus Ray Roberts. O'Neal a hands-down winner. 3 big sacks.
3 sacks in the game for Leslie. Downfield, complete to Blades in the middle. Chargers are going to give up the middle of the field. Castle and Carrington were soft on the coverage. And it's another first down for Seattle as the Seahawks try to move it with 2:12 remaining and the clock going. This time Meyer's pass is batted down. And that'll stop the clock with 2:05 left. Gets the Seahawks 1 extra play. Flag down. Back next to where Meyer released the football.
Illegal hands to the face, number 75, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Third penalty of the day against Ballard. He's had a tough time against Mims, just as Roberts has been having a tough time against O'Neal.
Well, of course, one of the things they talked about in acquiring Ballard is because, as you mentioned at the outset, the only Pro Bowl offensive lineman in the history of the Seahawks. They really felt like that he had solidified that offensive line, which I think he did. But let's give credit to both Mims and O'Neal. They've wreaked havoc all day long.
Meyer throws. Making the catch between 2 defenders is Blades, who has certainly shown his toughness today. Inside the 45 to the 43, Van Horst and Carrington were there to wrap him up. And we get the 2-minute warning. The score still 24-10. Live in the Husky Stadium, 2 minutes to go. Chargers lead Seahawks 24-10. 2 minutes to go. Showing on the clock as Rick Meyer lines up his Hawks from the 44-yard line of San Diego in the last-ditch effort to narrow the score. And there is number 6 for the San Diego defense. The first sack of the day for reserve defensive end Rayleigh Johnson.
And he just blew past Howard Ballard. Rayleigh Johnson with some fresh legs comes in. Ballard been on the line of scrimmage for a long time. I mean, he just flew past it.
That will make it third down, 24 yards to go for a first down. Pass intended for Martin, and Martin was over and under by Sean Van Horst and Darren Carrington.
Well, Martin was put in the position of defensive back. He's the one that actually knocked it away, preventing an interception.
And here comes the last hope for Seattle on 4th down, 24 yards to go. 1 minute 42 seconds remaining. Chargers likely now to move to 3-0. And And you'll recall that 2 years ago when they won the division, they started off with 4 consecutive losses, then won 11 of their last 12 in the regular season. Meyer looking deep. He got the one-on-one. He got the defensive back to fall down. He got a flag. Now is it going to go against the receiver or Dwayne Harper?
This is going to be the second time it's going to go against the offense. Harper got pushed right in the back. That's offensive interference. It's going to be San Diego's ball. Harper has been so busy today, involved in so many plays. Now this will be the second offensive interference, and he's had 4 of his own, almost 5, unless he was able to talk the back judge out of that one.
Harper's going to feel like he relived his entire 6-year career here in Seattle, given the number of times that the Seahawks threw against him today.
Now, he certainly earned his keep, but then again, that also shows what kind of cornerback he is. All those interference penalties, but he bounced back from it. He showed his resilience and his professionalism.
Well, Todd, you were absolutely certain it was offensive interference against Terrence Warren, but the officials are taking their time to make the same decision.
Well, I thought it was, to be honest with you, Jim, I thought it was a no-brainer. I mean, he shoved him to the ground.
Mark Wright agrees, apparently, and now he will give it to us officially.
Well, Harper's aware of what the situation is. It's 24 yards to go. He's already backpedaling right there. He's into his sprint. He has his eyes up on the ball. Take a look at the push. Clearly, just pushes him down completely. Warren does.
Pass interference, number 88, offense.
And the crowd goes, oh, no. How can they tell us that?
Well, it was obvious. Look at Warren right there, right in the back. Just completely pushes him out of the way. And, of course, everybody that understands the game knows that the defensive man has a right to the ball as well as the offensive man.
San Diego.
Not a real difficult decision there.
Actually, a pretty alert play by Warren, though. He had no other shot. Why not push the man down, take your chance, and see if you get a favorable flag?
Still to this day, you know when they show that Hail Mary, they show that Hail Mary thing with the Cowboys and the Vikings. Remember the pass to Drew Pearson with Nate Wright in coverage?
Yeah.
To this day, I still think that's offensive interference, and they didn't call it. If you notice the left
I'll bet you Nate Wright still thinks it's offensive interference, too. You and Nate together tonight in your perception about that play. Let's see if Bieniemy can pad his stats a little bit. Eric with the call on first down gets down to about the 41. Natrone Means is about a dozen or so yards short of 100, and Means may not get back onto the field to get his shot at going over the century mark. Timeout, 1:26 to go. We'll be back. As we bring it back to Husky Stadium, we remind you next Sunday NBC Sports presents an NFL doubleheader. Begins at 12:30 with NFL Live. Then many of you see Dan Marino and the unbeaten Dolphins going into Minnesota to take on Warren Moon and the Vikings. Game 2, many of you will see the Chargers in the Coliseum to meet the Los Angeles Raiders, or New England meeting Detroit. And those of you in Washington State will see the Seahawks against the Steelers at an unusual time, 3 o'clock Pacific time. A move necessitated, as you know, by the shift of the game from the Kingdome to Husky Stadium. Double check for sure. It's Bieniemy again on second down. Terry Wooden makes the stop for Seattle. And once again, the clock will be stopped, this time with 1:18 to go. Third down coming up for San Diego.
Jimmy, these are the guys right here that have been the key to this. I know that the stars get all the attention. Certainly Ronnie Harmon's had a day. Martin's big play, Humphreys. But these are the guys who have controlled the line of scrimmage. I mean, these are the people right there that have done an outstanding job of dominating the defensive line. Harry Swain, Joe Kokozo, Curtis Whitley put in the breach as a result of the injury to Courtney Hall. Joe Malinchik, Harry Swain, Alfred Papuno, Deems May, and Dwayne Young have just done an excellent job up front under some adverse conditions. Clearly, Seattle riding high, up 2-0 here in this collegiate atmosphere. Everything exciting, but a very workmanlike professional job by the offensive line of the San Diego Chargers.
And let's let them share the spotlight with the Charger defensive line, which stopped the Seattle running game in the first half, particularly after the loss of Warren to injury, and then wound up with 6 sacks against Chris Meyer, led by Leslie O'Neal, who got 3.
And an interesting point with regards to that too, Jim, they have held the Seattle Seahawks to under 200 yards in total offense. In this day and age of all of the rules promoting offense, that's that much more impressive.
Bieniemy again on third down. Terry Wooden makes the stop. That'll bring up 4th down for San Diego. And now the clock will run as the Seahawks are out of timeouts.
You know, that man right there, Leslie O'Neal, had a quote a couple of years ago saying that, you know what, if I'd like to go into a game or a season, I'd have to play over my head to win. When we talked with him about that quote, he said, oh, no, that was way back. I said, well, does it apply now? He said, no. He really feels like this is a talented team, and people believe in themselves, and when they go into games, they're not overmatched talent-wise or tradition-wise or anything to that effect. He really feels like the 92 season in which they won the AFC West bodes well for the future because they believe that they can do it. And based on what I've seen today, I can't disagree, even though it's early in the season.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Boy, that's exciting. I got to tell you, what a plane ride home it's going to be for number 81.
Tony Martin.
Wow, 99-yard touchdown. Man, that's got to be great.
Redemption after he threw the interception in the first half, which set up a scoring threat for Seattle. The Seahawks almost went in for the TD, wound up settling for the field goal. And then Martin came back with a 99-yard touchdown reception in the second half. Wagner's punt is taken on a fair catch by Kelvin Martin. And the Seahawks will have one more chance with the football. 22 seconds to go at their own 12-yard line. Make it the 13.
Linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, a guy by the name of Chris Martin, had a similar return. He was so excited about that, and he said, I'm in the record books. Now this guy is too. Tony Martin.
So here is what the standings will look like in the AFC West after this affair. San Diego 3-0. Seattle drops to 2-1. Kansas City still 2-0. They play tonight. The Raiders at 1-2 and Denver 0-3 in the cellar. Myers' pass intended for Chris Warren is incomplete. Dave McClellan, number 44, looking at playing a lot of corner in the next few weeks. He's normally a safety, but the Seahawks are down to one healthy corner on the roster after today.
You know, you mentioned earlier the thing with the Broncos being in the cellar. The thing that surprises me, aside from the fact that they're 0-3, 2 of those losses were in Mile High. I mean, in the years up to this point, Jim, that was almost an automatic victory in the old days, Mile High Stadium. But that home field advantage, obviously, is not what it used to be.
Chris Warren on 2nd and 13. You got to wonder about the wisdom of this one. He's playing with a bone chip now in his elbow after having gotten banged in the first half. Came back to play with a pad on it in the second half. And catches a pass on the last play of the game. Bobby Ross runs across the field to accept congratulations from Tom Flores and company as the Chargers stay perfect at 3-0. We'll have a final word from Seattle right after these messages. Last look at the final score in Husky Stadium.
All the sports, the scores, the highlights, Sports Wrap after the game today on KNSD.
They come in 2 lanes and 4 lanes, in concrete and blacktop, and sometimes even good old dirt. And we traverse them every day with Arco EC Premium, a high-octane gas that